got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your head. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports, Friday, August 4th. 1-1 on the show yesterday. Probably should have been 2-0. I mean, I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but I'm not being biased because they're my plays. I mean, if you look into it, we did win with Pittsburgh, although the full game would have been easier, but they were winning. It was 0-0 into the fourth inning, I think, and they did finally score. I think Chandler's pitching today. Oh, God, I hope he doesn't do as well as Ashcraft because the Red Sox are facing him. Ashcraft, I believe, had a no-hitter into the fourth inning, maybe the fifth inning. So he was pitching well. Pittsburgh finally got on the board, I think, in the fourth inning. So that was good enough. I think they were winning 2-0 at the end of the fifth, and then they completely unloaded later in the game, which I didn't really see happening. But I thought that their offense would get going a little bit in the game at the very least. They did. Phillips, I think, stayed in the game and really started losing it. I think in like the sixth, he gave up some more runs. Pittsburgh wound up winning 13-1, I think was the final in that one. So it looks like it was really easy. You know, I mean, it wasn't that easy because Pittsburgh was slow to start, but the pitching was there for them, and they finally got on the board. I think it was the right call. We got it right. Either way you played it, full game, first five, whatever. The WNBA game, I don't know how many bullshit losses I'm going to take in the WNBA, dude. I think that was another one. Like, what else can I say? If you look at what happened in that game, the free throw disparity in that game was unbelievable. I think pretty much we were dealing with who did we play? It was Washington against Vegas, right? Yeah, Vegas got to the free throw line, even though Washington, dude, they won the rebound battle again. And I talked about that in my handicap. They'd won the rebound battle in the previous game. That's usually a good indicator you're going to be in that game. They won the rebound battle again. Okay, that's good. I think there was some reffing going on, and then we had to deal with intentional fouls at the end and whatever. And yeah, Vegas went to the line way more, and they didn't miss like any of them. I think Vegas missed one free throw or maybe two. So they wound up with 19 more made free throws than Washington did. Washington missed literally half of theirs. That was the entire game. And they failed to cover by a half point on the 6.5. And unfortunately, yeah, like the 7.5 that came out, if that even was an actual number that was there, it was gone like immediately before I saw it. I still liked the 6.5. And they lose by exactly 7. It's so ridiculous. They hit one more of those free throws, basically they're going to cover. 50% from the free throw line is what Washington was. Vegas went to the line, I think probably, I don't even know what it was. They went to the line, I think, 20-something more times maybe, whatever it was. And then, they made, I think, 19 more free throws or something like that. Whatever it was. Absolutely. No, I think they went to the line fewer than 20 more times, but it was a huge disparity. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure they made 19 more. I'm going to be ranting about it. I got to stop. It's ridiculous. We should have covered that one. I think I'm 50-50 I think I'm losing in the WNBA after a winning season last year. We started out 5-0 in the WNBA, and we've had, I think, at least 4 losses that shouldn't have happened in the WNBA. I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed. And let's have another one tonight. Why not, right? Yeah. Let's do baseball. I mean, there's way too much here. I don't know how I can get through all this. I'm going to have 2 baseball plays, and they're both first fives. I don't know if I should be doing this, but it's what I arrived at. I mean, there were some other games that looked like I might have a play on them and dug into the numbers. I didn't really like them well enough. St. Louis, Chicago Cubs is the first game up on Apple TV. Wrigley Field afternoon game again on a Friday. Chicago is, I believe, at a rest disadvantage here, right? So they have a couple of negatives here. St. Louis was off yesterday, and Chicago played in Washington yesterday and lost horribly, 7-0. Kevin Gausman, I guess, not very good yesterday. Cavalli might be the real deal there. Bad spot for the Cubs, returning home from Kansas City and then Washington with no time off here. Well, with a quick turnaround kind of as well. They played in the afternoon yesterday, but another afternoon game here today where all the other teams are playing at night. And yeah, it looks like Cavalli had a no-hitter into the 7th there against the Cubs yesterday. Cardinals with a rest edge here. So the situation clearly favors St. Louis here. The problem is I don't like the starting pitching here. I can't really come in and back St. Louis when they have a bad starting pitcher on the mound. Even if the situation is there, I am a situational handicapper, but I don't know. In baseball, it's too matchup dependent for me. Chicago is the better relief staff here. They're 11th in bullpen based on whip. St. Louis is 21st. Cubs are also the better offense. They're 3rd. St. Louis is 25th. I mean, St. Louis is not going anywhere, but the thing is, they might have a motivation here. They might still think they're going to make the playoffs as well, because I don't think they're eliminated or anything. Cubs are definitely going to make the playoffs, I would say. But St. Louis might show up because it's just a big division rivalry. It's a big series. You know, they, at the very least, can play spoiler here. Cubs didn't use much of their bullpen yesterday. Yeah, they only used Savali out of the bullpen. I didn't even realize they had him. So, yeah, I mean, if he's unavailable today, who cares? That's probably better for the Cubs because he sucks. So he probably gave up some of those runs yesterday. Problem is, I can't come in and back Matthew Liberatore here. He's just not good. He's pitching for St. Louis, 5.15 ERA, 1.52 whip. And I know you can't just never back bad pitchers. I guess I would say that. But, I mean, this is a situation where there's really nothing to really like. Like, what do you like about this? Like, his numbers are just awful across the board. Nothing really looks good here. His home road splits aren't significant. He's a lot worse this year than he was the last 2 years. His strikeout walk ratio's gone down. It's below 3. His strikeouts per 9 is fine, so I'll give him that. His strikeout rate is decent. He's allowing way too many hits. He's allowing way too many home runs. His walk rate's also not good. You could probably guess that against the Cubs, he's not very good, which is true. He's he's allowed a 277 batting average, 809 OPS to them in 112 at bats, 25 to 15 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, I just can't do it, man. If he had good numbers against the Cubs, maybe there's an argument, even though maybe I weigh the matchups too heavily and whatever, but I like a lot of things to kind of coincide to make my plays, even though we're having kind of a mediocre baseball year after it was hot at the beginning of the year. I can't do it, though, especially because I think the Cubs have the better starter here, Clay Holmes, who he's only made one start, though, since coming back from his broken fibula, although he played on the broken fibula in the game where he broke it against the Yankees, I believe, where I think we still won on an under in that game. Holmes has had a good season, though, 2.86 ERA, 1.16 whip. However, basically all of that was with the Mets before his injury. But he's generally been good. His splits are really not significant either. His first start with the Cubs did not go well, though, at Kansas City. And I know that's kind of a hitter-friendly park now, so I don't know what to make of that. But Kansas City's still not a good team, and he did not do well in that game. Maybe, you know, after the long layoff, being away for more than 3 months, you could argue maybe he just wasn't quite ready, whatever, and maybe he'll do better here. I could definitely see that argument. His hit rate is fine. His walk rate is kind of high, though, and he doesn't really strike that many guys out, so the advanced analytics guys won't like him. Let me see. What are we looking at here? Yeah, his strikeout walk ratio is below 3 here, which is not great this season I'm looking at. And the strikeouts per 9, not horrible, but not great. All right. And then against what are we talking? I already forget who. St. Louis, right? They're not a good offense. Holmes has been good against St. Louis at 31 at bats, 226 average allowed, 572 OPS. The only bad thing is you probably could guess strikeout walk ratio 5.4. That's not good, but the rest of these numbers are good. They have only 7 hitters who have faced him. So, yeah, I think Holmes does have the advantage in the pitching matchup here. Cubs have the matchup advantage in every aspect of this game. The situation is horrible for them, though. But in the matchup, it all kind of goes towards the Cubs here. So when I see something like that, I have to just stay away. The Cubs are definitely public. 87% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on them, though. I don't really see the professionals really coming in on the Cubs here, though. They're around minus 180, which is a pretty high price. And usually you see the pros just kind of start coming in like, oh, well, this is a bad spot. And you know that you're paying too much for the Cubs, so let's just fire on the underdog here. And yeah, I mean, the argument is there if you want to try to play on the situation. The Cubs might be in the worst situation of the day. I think they're the only team that's returning home from a road trip and has a rest disadvantage on top of that. The other teams returning home from road trips today, I think pretty much all have rest edges. Or at least I think the rest is tied with the opposing team. I'm not going to do anything with it. The money's also hitting the over 8 here. Total basically indicates the wind is not really going to be that much of a factor today in that game. I don't have much else to say on it, man. I don't even really have a great opinion on it. I kind of think the Cubs are going to win it, though. But, I mean, if you're going to try to play the Cubs, you got to lay the run line with it. And given the situation, there's no way I would do it. Next game up is going to be one of my plays. And we are going to take... I know I'm going back to another one of these, man. A first 5. These haven't been good. First 5 under 4. Have to pay a little bit for it, minus 120. I saw a lot of 3.5s at plus money because the books, they don't want you to have the 4, man. So this is why you need to have a bunch of books. Some of them out there might allow you to do it or give you that option or have the number just slightly different. I think it opened around 4, or maybe even 4.5, and it's come down a little bit. But I like the starting pitching in this one between Miami and Cincinnati is what we're talking about. I don't even think I mentioned what teams I'm talking about. Miami, Cincinnati. I like the starting pitching here. I cannot back Cincinnati's bullpen. There's no way. Cincinnati is kind of in a bad spot, too. They're returning home from the road. They went to Washington and then the White Sox, and they beat the White Sox in that series, winning in a crazy 9-8 final yesterday, where I said I liked the over in that game, and it did happen. It didn't make the cut for me. It was close. The Reds used most of their bullpen, so that's not good. So there's no way I can back their bullpen. They're a bad bullpen anyway, and they used 6 guys yesterday. Can't do it. Miami's bullpen is better, and they only used 3 guys yesterday in that just gross loss to Pittsburgh yesterday. Now Miami's starting a road trip. So the situational spot is better for Miami. Neither team has a rest edge. They both played yesterday, but Miami is starting a road trip off an ugly loss yesterday to finish that series, which was that win on Pittsburgh that we had on the show. Cincinnati could be in a letdown spot, possibly, I guess. So I don't know how big a deal it is to beat the White Sox, but they are returning home from the road, and I'm going to reiterate it again, which I don't think I clarified with the Chicago game, but returning home from the road, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, it's a negative spot. Typically, it can lead to distractions. Guys have been away from home for a while. They have to get back to home life, etc. So I think that's a negative. But the good thing for the under is I think that distraction can hit like the majority of the lineup. You know what I mean? Like the majority of the team you're talking about is the hitting here. And I think it can affect that and possibly affect them more than it might affect like the starting pitcher because he's just one guy. So you can get over it a little bit more. But I like the starting pitching here on both sides. Sandy Alcantara pitching from Miami. He's got his whip down below 1.2 now. He's had a good season. 3.52 ERA, 1.17 whip. I mean, I guess it's not too surprising because he was really good in his past, but it just seemed like after the injuries, he wasn't going to really be that good again. He's been good, though. Now, he is not that good on the road, 4.32 road ERA, way higher opponent batting average on the road, so you want to back him more at home, but he's been good either way. Like, his last couple of road starts have been fine. He's given up no runs in his last 3 starts, going at least 6 innings in all of them. Granted, they weren't against elite offenses. Like, he got Philly at home, the Mets on the road, and then Anaheim at home. But even so, I mean, he's just burning through those lineups. So he's in good form right now, pitching really well. He had 1 bad start in there against Houston, but he's had all good starts otherwise since the beginning of July. He's definitely in good form right now. His hit rate is reasonably low here. Walk rate is okay. Given the amount of innings that he's pitched, yeah, that number of walks isn't too bad. His strikeout rate is low, considering what he used to be able to do, but it's not too bad. And you look, his strikeout walk ratio is right there at that threshold of 3, so that's not too bad. And he was never really that much higher than that, even when he was great earlier in his career. I think he kind of always had, he was never like a huge strikeout guy, I guess, although his strikeout rate has gone down a little bit. It's basically down from the 8s down to 7, but that's not that bad. He's going up against Cincinnati here. His numbers are good against Cincinnati. Their offense has been weak, which I should show those stats as well. He has 81 career at-bats against them, 222 average allowed, 597 OPS, 22-6 strikeout walk ratio. Alcantara has done well against the Reds, so I think he has the upper hand here. As I was alluded to earlier, just to get it out of the way, the Reds have a bad bullpen. They're ranked 25th, so that's why I'm eliminating them from the equation here. Miami is 6th in bullpen, so I would be fine with leaving Miami's bullpen in. You could go full game on this still if you want to. You really have to dodge the Reds bullpen, though, if you do that, and hope that Burns is going to get you deeper into the game. And I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with Burns getting us through 5 than getting us that much deeper into the game, because he is young, and I think they don't want to really like burn him out at this point. You know what I mean? We're not looking at Dusty Baker ball here. It's Terry Francona still there, right? I believe. My man, Francona. Winner with the Red Sox when they broke the curse of the Bambino. There you go. Always going to love Francona. I wish they had him back, man, to be honest. Although Chad Tracy's doing all right. Anyway, my Red Sox rambling, it's going to happen on all these shows during baseball season. Hitting, as I was alluding to, the Reds are not good. They're 23rd. So Alcantara might have a little bit of an easier time here because he has good numbers against them. The only bad thing is his numbers on the road, but he's in really good form right now. He's done well against Cincinnati. They're not a good offense. And then Miami, they are a decent offense. They're 8th, tied with Houston and Milwaukee. I don't think they're as good as those other two offenses, but I also think they can be held in check by Chase Burns, who I was just mentioning. He's Cincinnati's best pitcher right now, a 2.61 ERA, 1.12 whip. Even though he is still young, he's having his breakout season here. He's been really good at home, 2.2 home ERA with a sub-200 opponent batting average. Wasn't good in his last start against Washington. I'm hoping that was more of an outlier because most of his recent starts have been good. However, as you'll notice, he's going around 5 innings at a lot of these starts. He's a little bit inefficient with his pitches, but also I think Cincinnati might kind of have him on a little bit of a pitch count here. So 5 innings seems to be the better way to play this for multiple reasons. Like, I think Burns might go exactly 5 because he's done that somewhat often, and then they'll yield to the bullpen, and I don't want anything to do with the bullpen, but Burns has been very good. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is reasonable. Strikeout rate is definitely high. He strikes a lot of guys out, so that tells you that he's got some real talent there. One thing you do have to worry about is his innings. Young guys like this that haven't thrown that many innings before, once they get up in that innings count, you do have to worry a little bit. I don't think we need to worry yet, but we'll see. Hopefully he's gonna give us a good start here in this one. His strikeout walk ratio this year isn't as good as it was last year. That has me a little bit concerned, but last year it was a smaller sample size, so maybe last year made him look a little bit better than he actually is. He's still been really good this year, though. And his strikeouts per 9 is still above 10. I mean, it's not like that's at all bad. So, yeah, obviously that's still good. And I believe Miami has never faced him before. So we're going to ride unfamiliarity here on his side. So we get a good pitcher who's going up against an offense that's unfamiliar with them. And I think that's an extra advantage to the pitcher when the offense has never seen them before. The offense can struggle a little bit. So let's take the first 5 under here in this one. We have 64% of the 64% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the over. So it looks like there is a slight market indication towards the under in this one. Miami's getting a lot of the money as well. I don't disagree with Miami. Again, I think the spot is better for Miami, like I said, with the return home spot for Cincinnati. You'll have to get through Burns, but I think if the game is close, if Alcantara duels him, which is what I'm banking on here, Miami's going to have the better bullpen. So if you're going to take Miami, obviously you should do it in the full game. Take advantage of the bullpen edge, which I think is that plus the situation is the biggest edge you're going to have. I think it might be close through the first 5, though, which is what I'm banking on here with the under on the first 5, obviously. Full game totals at 8. So, again, if you wanted to take the full game under, I'm not going to disagree with that. I still agree with that. It's just I don't want to deal with the Reds bullpen. Hopefully the starters can get us there, man. We've had a bad time with these first 5 unders on the show, man. I think many of them have been losers that shouldn't have been as well. So let's do it. We'll ride the starting pitchers here in this one. Cincinnati's a very small favorite, by the way. Money line hasn't really moved much. It's around a pick-em price. So you'll get Miami maybe at a slight underdog price if you're going to take them in the full game or whatever, which, again, I don't disagree with that either. But the under first 5 is my actual play, which I think is one of the best plays on the board. Boston and Pittsburgh, my Boston Red Sox. Pittsburgh is returning home from the road, but they were only on a single series road trip in Miami, and they ended a losing streak with their win yesterday. So I'm not going to say Pittsburgh's in a bad spot here. Even though it is a return home spot, they haven't been away for that long, so I don't think it's that negative for them. The Red Sox, I think, should be in a positive spot because they finally ended that stupid losing streak. They lost 5 games in a row, but that was because they were behind Peyton Tolle yesterday, who seems like the real deal. Like, he didn't have his best stuff in that game, and he allowed the lead runner on base the first 3 innings, but he didn't allow any runs, got through it, and they left him in the game, and he got really efficient with his pitches. He didn't strike a lot of guys out yesterday. He actually didn't have a strikeout until like the 6th inning, which is kind of bad, but he stayed in the game, and he retired the last 17 batters in a row that he had faced. Totally, yeah, man. Over his last 2 starts, I forget exactly what the stat is, but he had a certain amount of innings pitched, a certain amount of strikeouts, which was obviously way higher than the innings pitched because he had 14 strikeouts in 6 innings the other time against the A's, and then very few hits allowed, and the amount of runs allowed, which is very low as well. Whatever that combination was, I saw the tweet about it. I might retweet it or something. In those 2 starts, he did something that only 2 other Red Sox pitchers have ever done over a 2-start span, and it was Cy Young and Pedro Martinez, and Pedro Martinez did it twice. Whatever the numbers were, it was something to do with the amount of hits allowed, the amount of runs allowed, and the amount of strikeouts over, and the amount of innings pitched over a 2-start span, something like that. Anyway, Peyton Tolle, he's the guy you have to be the most confident about right now in the Red Sox starting rotation, even though the starting rotation is pretty good. But yeah, he's the only guy that I'm confident, like, yeah, the Red Sox can go out there and win this game with him on the mound, which is crazy to say. Red Sox are now having to go from Toronto to Pittsburgh. Not a horrible travel spot here. Pittsburgh, they're good offensively at home, though. That's something you got to worry about. Red Sox obviously battling for wild card positioning here. Pittsburgh technically is, I guess, but they might be feeling like they might be done, man, even though they put up a good effort yesterday. Pittsburgh also saved their bullpen yesterday. So Ashcraft was really good in the game. I think they didn't even use a relief pitcher, I guess. Ashcraft, I know he was still in there in like the 8th inning or whatever. I think they might have just let him go the complete game yesterday, which is insane. But I think maybe he did do that. Red Sox, though, they only used 1 guy to their bullpen because Tolle went 8 innings yesterday. So both bullpens are pretty clean here, but the Red Sox have the number 1 bullpen, although Whitlock is on the DL right now, which is not good because he was having an excellent season, so they need him to come back, man. They're saying it's inflammation in the elbow. It better not be worse than that because, yeah, that could be bad. Like, that better not linger. Better not turn into something worse. But it seems like the Red Sox medical staff is constantly lying. Pittsburgh does not have a very good bullpen, though. They're 23rd. Although they're rested, but the Red Sox have the edge there. Pittsburgh has the offensive edge. They're 4th. They're also really good at home. Red Sox 14th, doing better recently, but that 7-0 Red Sox win yesterday might be a little bit misleading because it was a 1-0 game into the 8th inning, and Caleb Durbin hit a grand slam in the 8th inning when the Red Sox were trying to play small ball. Wilson Contreras actually bunted runners over to scoring position because they were trying to just score like an extra run. Like, let's just get the insurance run here. Caleb Durbin gets up. Yeah, no, I'm just going to jack it out of the yard. How about 4 insurance runs? And then they scored more in the 9th inning too. But yeah, whatever. Jake Bennett is pitching for the Red Sox here. Wasn't good in his last start, man. I don't know what to think about him. He doesn't strike enough guys out. He's been good. He's got a 3.17 ERA, 1.04 whip. Doesn't really put a lot of guys on base, but I get some I have some concerns, man, just with his strikeout rate and stuff like that. He's been good on the road, 2.87 road ERA. Mostly he's pitched well. His last couple starts, though, the walk rate's kind of gone up. Hasn't gone that deep into these outings the last couple times. One was against the Dodgers, so you got to give him a pass for that. At home against the A's, kind of struggled through that one, though, and that's not a good sign, really. He's not really throwing that many pitches, though, and he hasn't thrown that many innings, so we don't have to worry about that. As a young guy, he doesn't allow that many hits, doesn't allow that many walks, but his strikeout rate is low. Like I said, he does get a lot of ground ball outs. Looking at his stats here overall, the strikeout walk ratio is still actually good because his walk rate is so low. So that still looks pretty good. It's above 3. Strikeouts per 9, not impressive. But yeah, I mean, he's just not a strikeout guy. So the advanced analytics guys are probably going to have something to say about that and not be fans of it. Pirates have obviously never faced him before, so he does have that advantage. Maybe he does bounce back here and pitch well. He's got unfamiliarity against the Pirates. It's not an easy task, though, to go and pitch against one of the best offenses in their home stadium where they're at their best. So that's going to maybe not be that great for him, but he might pitch well because Pittsburgh hasn't faced him before. So that remains to be seen. Bubba Chandler is pitching for the Pirates. He's got some major walk issues, man. He'd be a good pitcher if he didn't have those issues. 4.26 ERA, 1.38 whip. He's basically the same home and away. It doesn't really matter. His strikeout walk ratio is really bad. Last year it was awesome. He had a small sample size last year. Last year he was great. So I was expecting him to take a step forward and be really good this year. He has the ability to do it. He has good strikeout ability. The problem is, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's gone on with him this year. The walks have gone way up, and actually his strikeout rate's kind of gone down a little bit this year, and his strikeout walk ratio is below 2, which is a big problem. It's the walks that are the problem. His strikeout rate is still pretty good here, even though it's not up at 1 per inning. He pitched really well last time out against the Mets. Was kind of struggling prior to that, though, man. Most of his recent starts have been kind of bad and not going that deep into these outings. He's hard to hit, though, but he walks a ton of guys, and his strikeout rate is just kind of mediocre here. So, yeah, the walks are the huge issue with him, though. And maybe the Red Sox can take advantage of that if they're patient. They haven't really seen much of him. Only the guys that used to be in the NL in his division have seen it before, Contreras and Durbin, and they're 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against him and no walks. That's not great. Very limited sample there, though, obviously. This is a stay away for me. I mean, I have really nothing on this. I used to be more like full bore on the unfamiliarity. I'm not going to do that here. The Red Sox are a super public side, 91% of the tickets, 94% of the cash. They opened minus 130 something and dropped into the minus 120s. So it looks like there is some anti-public sentiment from the professionals coming in against the Red Sox here. I think the Red Sox are in the slightly better spot, though, and I probably prefer Bennett over Chandler, plus the Red Sox with the better bullpen. I would slightly lean to the Red Sox, but I'm not confident that they'll actually win this game, man. And I think maybe, I don't know, man. There might be more indicators towards an under than an over here, although I don't like Pittsburgh's bullpen. But the Red Sox offense isn't terrific. The money's slightly indicating towards the over 8, but with unfamiliarity for both starters, at least one good bullpen, under makes a little bit more sense to me, and you could limit it to the first 5 if you want to just focus on the starting pitching unfamiliarity, because I think both of these guys do have talent and the unfamiliarity there and could do well. All right, White Sox at Detroit. I was looking at this game, and I think the pitching definitely favors Detroit here, and Detroit's playing some good baseball here, even after they sold off at the trade deadline. They're playing with some effort here, man, and they're right there in the AL Central, and this is going to be against the team that's above them in the AL Central. Detroit's going to keep showing up, man. They just beat Cleveland. They're coming in here. You could argue the letdown spot here, but I don't really think so. Or actually, they're staying at home for this. You could argue the letdown spot, but I just don't think so because they're not going to overlook the White Sox. You know what I mean? That's one of the teams they're battling with for the division. Detroit also could be a wild card here, depending on how things shake out. But they're playing good baseball, and they're better at home as well, which is where they are here. The White Sox have not been playing as well recently, and they're also not good on the road. So some advantages already kind of showing for Detroit here. Now, the White Sox, they're not in a bad spot, really, though, although they did play a grinding high-scoring game yesterday and use a lot of their relief arms, so that's going to be kind of an issue. They're going to be at a bullpen disadvantage here, but they are starting a road trip, which is a positive spot usually. They're not going to overlook Detroit, who's right on their heels, so both teams are going to show up. It's a big series. Problem is, White Sox look like they're somewhat going with a bullpen game in this one, and their bullpen is already totally burned out. So that looks pretty bad to me for the White Sox. They used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Detroit, I think, only used 2. In their win over Cleveland, although they did have to hold off Cleveland at the end. They used Jansen, I believe, as their closer there. I think Detroit's got the better bullpen here. They're 14th versus Chicago at 15th, but Detroit's got the better ERA, and they're in the better rest situation here as far as the bullpens go. And the White Sox are going with a bullpen game, again, like I said, so I prefer Detroit's bullpen here. Detroit is slightly better offensively right now as well at 11th. White Sox 13th, so Detroit, it's a close matchup, but Detroit has some slight edges here. But I think the biggest edge is actually the starting pitching. Sean Newcomb is going to be the pitcher for the White Sox here. This is a bullpen game. He's been good. He's my man from Brockton, Mass., and he was on the Red Sox for a little while, but I don't think he's a good pitcher. I know his numbers look good this year, but he's got a limited sample size. He's just kind of a journeyman pitcher. He's in his 30s. He's mostly a relief pitcher. He's not pitching more than like 1 to 2 innings every time he goes out there, so he's going to be an opener here. If you're going to play this game, I wouldn't even pick a starter for the White Sox because you don't even know if he's going to actually be the opener or not. So if you're going to play this game, I would pick Job must start for the Tigers, and I would not pick a starter on the White Sox just because I think it's kind of unclear who they're actually going to start here. But whatever it is, it's not good. You're going to get a bullpen game out of the White Sox, although actually, if you go 5 games back, I thought it was going to be Anthony Kay today, but it looks like they're starting him tomorrow. So he's pitching tomorrow's game. So it does look like it's legitimately just a bullpen game for the White Sox here. I don't know why they're doing it because Kay is on the normal rest here. Like, I thought they might be doing it because he was only on 5 days rest or 4 days rest or whatever, but he's on the normal 5 days rest, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know why Chicago's doing this. Jackson Jobe, like I said, is pitching for Detroit. He's kind of a mystery to me right now. I don't know what to expect out of him. He pitched a bit. He's pitched for the last 2 seasons, but last year we got to see more of what he can do. And he walked way too many guys last year, just plain and simple. He looked all right, kind of, but his walks were ridiculous last year. Now, has he figured that out? I don't know, because he's made 1 start so far this year, and it was good. He went 5 innings, and he 1-hit shut out the San Francisco Giants. But it was the Giants in San Francisco. That's not really a good offense that you're going up against there. And a pitcher-friendly park. So he was good, and I heard guys raving about his outing. I mean, it's good. There's no doubt about that. But can we really take that much away from this? I don't know. He had 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. So it's a good sign that he walked only 1 guy. But I don't know if that's going to continue or not. I really have no idea what we're going to get out of him here. He does have some track record against the White Sox. They have 3 hitters who have faced him, 9 at-bats, and they only have 1 hit against him, a single from Doyle. 111 average allowed, 311 OPS allowed, 1-1 strikeout walk ratio. I would rather back whatever Detroit's doing here with Job, hopefully getting you 4 or 5 innings here, and then the Detroit bullpen. I would rather be on that than a full bullpen game from the White Sox after they used a lot of their bullpen yesterday in that game against the Reds, and we're avoiding the Reds bullpen because they were involved in that same game as well. I like Detroit in this game. I don't think I could really do it. I mean, I think there's just too much unpredictability here, but that's the way that I would go here. The money doesn't agree with me at all either, so that's kind of a problem. If you're going to play Detroit, you're going to be looking at minus 140 something on the money line in the full game, or you could make like a -1 run line on it, which might get a little dangerous because they're the home team, so they might not bat in the 9th inning if they're already winning. But if they're already winning, at worst, you're pushing your bet there if you have a -1 run line. But 74% of tickets on Detroit, 66% of the cash on the White Sox. So the money is seemingly indicating pretty hard on the White Sox. I don't get it, man. Like, as a professional bettor, I understand that you want to find value. And, oh, yeah, Detroit might be a little bit overvalued here with the recent success they've had. But do you, seriously, like, do you really want to have your money on a White Sox bullpen game here? I mean, I guess it's all about the price, but even with this price, I don't like it. I would still lean Detroit. The money's also kind of indicating on the under, which seems insane to me. You could maybe look at Detroit to go over their team total and just score runs off of this questionable White Sox pitching situation they have going on here. Maybe that's a way to do it, and it takes the mystery of Job out of the equation. That sounds like a book of the Bible. I mean, it kind of is. You could, take him out of the equation because you have no idea really what you're going to get out of him. Maybe Detroit team total over, but the money is hitting the under 8.5 there, so I don't know. Difficult game to handicap, man. It is. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. I don't know what Tampa Bay is really doing here either because it looks like they're kind of going with a bullpen game here. Tampa Bay's in a bad spot. Both of these teams were off yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Tampa Bay is coming home from going to Colorado, Seattle, and the A's, Sacramento. So Tampa Bay is returning home cross-country from a long road trip. I'm going to say it again, that's a negative spot. You have to get back to home life, plus you have to readjust to the time zone. They did have yesterday off, but still, it's a bad spot for Tampa Bay. So my first instinct would be to be looking towards fading Tampa Bay because they're not in a good spot, and they just had a great road trip. They won all 9 games on the road trip. They have a decent lead right now in the AL East, although it's not insurmountable, and I still kind of think the Yankees are going to somehow win that division. Baltimore, this is going to be one game they get up for, I think. Baltimore was also off yesterday. They're traveling down from Minnesota, which they're in the middle of a road trip, so it's probably a better spot for them. Again, I would say I think maybe they could take more advantage of that rest day as well. And they're not going to overlook Tampa, even though Baltimore's done for the season, basically, whatever. You're in last place, man, in the AL East if you're Baltimore. You're facing the top team in the AL East here, Tampa Bay. Yeah, you're going to focus. You're going to try to knock off the team at the top of your division. You know, that's something that will motivate you. So I think that's okay for Baltimore. I think they will be focused enough here. Baltimore, 13th in bullpen. The Rays are number 2, although I think both of them are a little bit overrated by arranging this by whip. I don't think either of them are that good, but yes, Tampa is the better bullpen. Tampa is the better offense as well. They're ranked 6th. Baltimore is 16th, tied with the A's. But again, I don't think it's that much of a gap between these two teams. Baltimore is going with Kyle Bradish here, although actually they're undecided right now, so I don't know what they're doing. It looked like it was going to be Bradish. And if it is going to be him, he's been all right. 3.69 ERA, 1.34 whip. He's worse on the road, though. 3.99 road ERA, and his opponent batting average on the road is way higher at almost 300, so that's not good. He's pitched, I don't know. I mean, his last start was good against Texas, but the 2 starts prior to that were both not good. But before that, he was pitching well, so he's been kind of a roller coaster. His thing is he walks way too many guys. He doesn't allow that many hits. His strikeout rate is decent, but yeah, his walk rate is terrible. And again, I don't know if he's actually pitching today or not. He's been better throughout his career than what we've seen from him this year, though, which is kind of interesting. His strikeout walk ratio is the worst that it's been ever, really, this year. So something's going on here. I don't know what the deal is with him. Why? I don't know. He seems to be struggling more with the control. Something's going on here. Not great. Strikeout walk ratio there. His strikeouts per 9 was way better the last couple of years, too, so that's gone down a little bit, too. He's capable of doing better than what we've seen, though, so there is that. I think maybe, I don't know if he's coming back from an injury, maybe, or I don't know what the deal is there. His numbers against Tampa Bay are not bad. In 75 at-bats, 240 average, 713 OPS, allowed 18-8 strikeout walk ratio. So I would be okay backing Bradish here, but we don't actually know if he's going to start, and that's the thing. It looks like ESPN had him listed here, but now there's no starter listed on the board for them. And Tampa Bay looks like they're going with a full bullpen game. They got Steven Matz listed as the opener. He's having a rough season, dude. He was good as a relief pitcher last year for St. Louis, and then the Red Sox traded for him for a rental at the end of the season, which didn't do a whole lot. But he was decent last year. This year he's been pretty bad. Although his ERA in the 5s makes him look worse than he actually is. His whip is in the 1.2s, so he's better than that. But I don't really want to fully handicap him as a starter here because I think he might be an opener. I mean, he's going to be. He pitched 2 days ago. He pitched an inning. So, yeah, he's going to be an opener. Because they did have him start earlier in the season. He was actually in the starting rotation. And he was actually doing all right with his going like a full starter's workload there. But I don't want to handicap him, spend that much time doing it just because he's not going to be in the game that much. So it's going to be a Tampa bullpen game here. And I looked 5 games ago for Tampa. They went with a full bullpen game. So I think if you're going to play this game, I actually think you should just play the whole thing action because we have no idea who's starting in this game. So if you're going to be gambling for sure. Like I like, wagering where I think I have an edge and knowing all the information. But if you're going to play this game, not knowing who's going to start, I would say pick action in this one because you have no idea. I think Tampa's going with a bullpen game. We know that. It's just unclear if it's going to be Motts. It might be Legumina opening. Who knows? Baltimore, you'd think it would be Bradish here. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be if it's his turn in the rotation. But it's a bad spot for Tampa for sure. And if you really just want to blindly play the situation, yeah, I would lean Baltimore in this game. Tampa Bay is the better team. There's no doubt about that. But the situation is bad, and you're not getting their best pitching attack in this, or whatever you want to call it. They're going with the bullpen game. So, and I don't like that, although some teams are good at doing it. And it is a spot where it makes some sense to do it because Tampa Bay is rested here, so they can manage the bullpen the way they want to. But minus 160 something is the price on Tampa. You're probably paying a bit of a premium for Tampa here just because they have a really good record. They have the best record in the AL, although I still don't think they're the best team in the AL. And in fact, I believe the Yankees and the Tigers both have a better run differential than Tampa Bay does. So that's interesting. Something of note there. And actually, the Red Sox might as well, actually. Let me look because I'm interested right now. I haven't been following it that closely recently. Yankees and Red Sox do. And Detroit. Yeah, all three of those teams have a run differential higher. They're all pretty good. They're all very positive run differentials, including Tampa, but Tampa's about 20 runs behind all three of those teams. So Detroit actually has the best run diff in the AL, believe it or not. I wasn't even looking at the AL West because I know the entire division is negative. And that's why I did not even have to scroll down, man. And the White Sox are the only other team with a positive run diff. That's crazy. The AL is so bad, dude. But anyway, yeah, I would lean Baltimore in that game and just take them, make a +1 run line or whatever. Full game, I guess, because even if Tampa has a bullpen edge, their bullpen's going to be pitching the whole game, so that kind of eliminates the bullpen edge because whatever edge it is going to have the whole game to have to contend with. So, all right, San Diego, Cleveland. I looked at this and I thought this was going to be on my card. Like, this jumps out at me as being an under. Like, Cleveland plays a lot of under games at home. You're looking at two bad offenses, You're looking at two good starting pitchers here, and you're looking at two good bullpen, one good bullpen in San Diego and a decent bullpen, I guess I would say, with Cleveland. So, like, this has all the makings of an under to me, and the odds makers know it. They have a pretty low total on this. I can't do it because the matchup numbers are kind of just keeping me away from it, but yeah, I think if I was going to add another play to my card, it would be an under in this game. Most things line up for an under here. Cleveland just lost yesterday to Detroit, getting shut out there. Now they're returning home from a road trip, not the worst road trip, where they stayed in their division, in their geographic area. They went to Chicago and Detroit. So an easy trip home, but still, they've been away for a week. So I always talk about it. You can get distracted, have to get back to home life. Cleveland just had all divisional foes they're fighting with for the division on that road trip. Could be a devastating road trip, man. They lost 4 out of the 6 games, lost both series to the White Sox and Tigers. They're two foes here besides Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's going anywhere, man. They're not good. I did not mention them as a positive run differential because, yeah, they're not. But yeah, Cleveland, I mean, they might start getting into, dream crusher mode here at some point, and after those big divisional games, coming back home distractions, are they going to focus that much on the Padres? I'm not so sure, man. San Diego, though, they could be in a letdown spot here. San Diego had yesterday off, and they're coming in from Milwaukee. They're coming in from home, excuse me. So they're coming in from the Pacific Coast. So a lot of travel here, but start of a road trip, a lot of times you are focused and you carry that momentum with you. However, that was a big series win for them. Sweeping the Brewers, that was huge. Big NL matchup there. San Diego's now ahead of Arizona. They might be feeling kind of high on themselves right now, so they might be in line for a letdown here as well. Cleveland, by the way, played yesterday, so kind of an interesting spot. So actually, I said the Cubs are the only team in that spot, which is a return home and a rest disadvantage. I got that wrong. I apologize. Cleveland also is. So if you wanted to fade, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do it, but it is tempting to look. I was thinking under. I do like the under in this game a lot, but I'm thinking San Diego is definitely a way to look in this game as well. But I worry just because, they will have to adjust to the new time zone. They could be in a letdown off of those Brewers games. Like, after you do that to the Brewers, how much focus are you really going to pay to Cleveland right now? I don't know. So I'm going to stay away from it, but I would lean to San Diego on the side here, and you'll see what the matchup numbers look like in a minute. But San Diego does have a bullpen edge here. They were off, so their bullpen is rested. Cleveland was not off, although they used 3 guys yesterday. They didn't really use their better relievers yesterday. So their bullpen is in okay shape as well, so that's good if you're going to play the under here. San Diego's number 7 in bullpen. I think they're better than that. I think they're one of the top 5 probably. Cleveland is number 20 in bullpen, but I think they're better than that. They're not a bottom 10 bullpen. I think they're the upper half of bullpens. Offensively, yeah, Cleveland's really bad. They're 28th here, tied with the Mariners. Not a good thing for the Mariners. San Diego's been a little bit better recently, so I will give them that. They are hitting better recently. They're 23rd. They're tied with Cincinnati now. Ooh, yeah. But these are still offenses you could definitely fade, in my opinion. Michael King is pitching for San Diego. Advanced analytics guys don't love this guy, but I mean, he's got a long career that we can look at, and he's been a solid pitcher throughout his career. So it's like, all right, you can hate on the guy, but he does pretty consistently well. 3.37 ERA, 1.17 whip. It's all because he doesn't strike guys out, man. He's only slightly worse on the road. 3.56 road ERA. He's been pretty good over his recent starts. He's had a couple of iffy performances in there, a couple of walk-heavy starts in there, but he didn't allow that many runs in one of them against Atlanta. The other one, he kind of escaped as well, though he got no run support. And then the other one where he gave up runs against the Rockies, I think he kind of got unlucky, but he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate's not great, really. Strikeout rate is okay. So yeah, his strikeout-walk ratio is not going to be that good. He's got to get that walk rate down a little bit. Yet over his career, it's been better than it is this year. It's actually pretty low at 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, which over his career, he's been hovering around 3. So that is bad, I guess, that he's fallen off in that regard. But he's been unhittable enough that his whip is still pretty good here. And yeah, strikeouts per 9 has gone down. That's what I thought. He was a better strikeout pitcher throughout his career. So yeah, this season, the underlying metrics actually have him worse this season than he has been in the recent seasons. But I don't know, man. I mean, he's continuing to pitch effectively at the very least. And he's going up against an offense that can't do that much damage usually. And they have not been good against him. Cleveland in 40 at-bats against King. 175 average, 483 OPS, 12-6 strikeout walk ratio. Is again a bad ratio, right around 2. But the rest of these numbers look good. So I would be fine with backing King here. And it looked like an under because Gavin Williams is pitching for Cleveland. Williams is pitching really well. Like, he's looking the best that he ever has. 3.55 ERA, 1.04 whip. He's got a 2.85 ERA at home. He's really good at home. He's striking out a ton of guys recently. Last time out was the first time since early July where he didn't have double-digit strikeouts in an outing, and he got to 7 in his last outing against a pretty capable White Sox offense. So, yeah, even though he didn't go that deep into his last 2 outings, he's pitching well, man. Like, tons of strikeouts here. Doesn't allow many hits. His walk rate's okay as well. He does allow a lot of home runs, though, because it seems like if he doesn't get his fastball by hitters that connect with it and jack it out of the yards, that's a little bit of an issue, but it is also kind of fluky. And he's not even really that heavy of a fly ball pitcher, so it is a little weird. His strikeout rate is definitely high. One of the higher rates in baseball, I would say. His strikeout walk ratio is improved big time. So you want to talk about King not doing as well this year. Williams has been at his best this year. He looked pretty good last year and 2023. 2024 wasn't great for him, but this year, yeah, this has been his best season. His numbers have gotten way better, and his strikeout per 9 is insane. It's 11.5 this year, which is the highest it's ever been. Yeah, he looks awesome right now. His numbers against San Diego, though, I start to have some issues here. 24 at-bats. They have a 375 average against him, an 858 OPS, 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. So that does concern me a little bit. Although I think he is certainly capable of shutting this offense down. I worry about that, and on the other side, because I like the under here, as I said, but I worry about Williams' matchup numbers, and I worry about King not being as good as his numbers make him look, and kind of having like a drop off this season. The money is still indicating on the under, and I still agree with it. And I still think that's probably the best way to play this. The total's 7.5, so it's a low total. It's low for a reason. You can get 7.5 under. You got to pay some juice for it, though. It looks like about -120, but that is how I would play this, is pay the -120 to get it under 7.5. The money seems to agree with this. 64% of tickets on the over, 87% of the cash on the under. Yeah, it seems like it has mostly the makings for an under here, and it jumped off the page to me as being an under. And if Williams had better matchup numbers, I think I would be on this one as a play. And maybe I'm stupid. Maybe, I'm being too selective here, and when things don't line up, I don't know. But the money's also back in Cleveland. Like I said, I don't think I would do that, even though I think part of it is that the professionals, using advanced analytics, they like Williams better than King. That's the thing. But I don't like the situation at all for Cleveland. Like I said, and King is certainly a capable pitcher, and he has the good matchup numbers here. 51% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on Cleveland. I don't agree with that. I would lean to San Diego in this one. Cleveland -120 something on the money line here. So you'll get San Diego as an underdog, and they have the situational edge. So I would be leaning that way as far as the side, but I think the under is the best way to play that game. Washington and the Mets. Washington played yesterday and beat up the Cubs to get a game in that series. Cavalli, really good in that game. Now they're starting a road trip with a little bit of momentum, starting a road trip facing the Mets, but the Mets have a rest advantage here. However, this is one of those spots I was talking about. The Mets are also at a disadvantage because they're returning home from the road. They went to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, the Braves. They had a decent road trip there. Started to lose some games towards the end of it, though, against Garrett's Atlanta Braves, and now they're returning home. I think it's a negative spot for the Mets, as I always do. When a team's returning home from a long road trip like that, 3 series, it's tough to get stuff done at home and then focus on baseball. Maybe they will because it's a divisional game, but do you get that up for playing Washington at this point? Washington's been a good offense, but their pitching hasn't been good this year, and they're not going anywhere this year, so I don't know. Neither are the Mets, but the Mets did look like they were playing with some effort, though, so you got to give them that. But the return home spot is bad. However, again, like I said, Washington has a disadvantage here as well because they could be in a letdown off of that huge win against the Cubs, and they played yesterday, so they're at a rest disadvantage. So there are disadvantages, significant disadvantages on both sides here. So I can't just key on one of them, you know what I mean? Because both teams are in a negative spot here. So there might be other ways to look at this game besides the side. Washington only used one relief pitcher yesterday, though, so their bullpen is intact, at least. But, I mean, is their bullpen ever intact, really, though? They're a bad bullpen, so I still couldn't come in and back them, really. They're 26th in bullpen. The Mets are 9th, so the Mets are going to have a bullpen advantage here. Washington obviously has the offensive edge. They're number 1 still in offense. Not quite as good at home, I don't believe. Mets are 26th. They've been doing better recently, at least offensively. So, I think if you're looking at this game, it might be a game to play an over. That was kind of what my thought was on this. The pitching is definitely not elite here, although Alvarez is the better of the 2 starters. So I would probably still be looking towards maybe a Washington first 5 if you're going to look at the side here. I think it might be the way to look at this game as well, and still fade the Mets in the return home spot, even though they do have a rest advantage here. I would still recommend taking Washington's bullpen out of the equation, though, if you're going to play Washington, obviously. But I think Alvarez is better than Stock, the unsolved mysteries guy, Robert Stock, for the Mets here. Alvarez is a younger pitcher. He's got way more upside. His problem is the walks. He walks way too many guys. His ERA looks pretty good, 3.76, but his whip is 1.4, which is not good. He's been pretty good on the road, though, 3.1 road ERA. He's been looking pretty good recently. His last couple starts have been pretty good, except the walk. The walks have been kind of an issue in a lot of these recent starts. Like I said, that's kind of his main issue. He's got a decent strikeout rate. His hit rate is okay. It's the walks that are the huge problem with him, which is keeping his strikeout walk ratio kind of down. It's around where it was last year. So he's continuing what he did last year. It looks like his numbers are similar, although last year his whip was actually a lot better. Last year, he was, I guess, less hittable last year is kind of why his whip was lower, but it was a small sample size. His strikeouts per 9 have gone up a bit this year, so his strikeout rate looks pretty good this year. Alvarez against, I already forget who we're talking about, the Mets, right? Yeah. They're not a very good offense. He has not had success against them, though. They have 10 at-bats against him, which I know isn't a big sample, but most of their offense has faced him before. And they have a 300 average against him, an 817 OPS, 1-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't really want to come in and try to back him. I would still prefer him over Robert Stock, though, for the Mets. Like, what are we doing here, man? I mean, I guess just because they don't have anybody else to fill this spot in the rotation, they're going with a 36-year-old journeyman relief pitcher here who has a 10 ERA and a 2-something whip. Yeah, okay. He got absolutely annihilated in his last outing against Pittsburgh. He actually had a pretty good start, like a starter's workload against Miami, which makes me laugh. Last time out, he was absolutely terrible. He got obliterated by Pittsburgh. 9 hits and 5 walks allowed in 3 innings. Allowed 8 runs. He probably was lucky to only allow 8 runs. I mean, that's insane. Putting 14 guys on base. Yeah, I don't expect much from Stock here. The stock is very low on Stock. And I don't even know if he's going to last long in this game at all. Washington's never faced him before. Who cares? I don't think it's going to matter. He's not going to come in and fool anybody, as we can tell. So, yeah, I mean, it does seem like Washington, like, however you want to play this, I think you want to fade. Yeah, I think you definitely want to fade Stock in this game is what I would say here. Money is agreeing with Washington. 55% of tickets on the Mets, 77% of the cash on Washington. And you get them, I would play the first 5 only, though. But if you're going to do that, you're probably looking at them as a favorite in the first 5 because the Mets are basically a pick-em price in the full game. So, yeah, Washington, you'd be looking at a favorite price in the first 5. But I think it would be warranted. They have the better starting pitcher here, and they don't have the better bullpen. So I would avoid their bullpen. The money is agreeing with the over as well. 55% of tickets on the under, 84% of the cash on the over. Total at 8.5. The over is definitely in play in this game. I mean, I don't think either starter is that good. Washington's bullpen is bad. However, I'm thinking, one way that you could play this, if you like Washington and it's a pick 'em price and you think the over is going to happen, Washington over their team total makes quite a bit of sense here. I think you probably need them to get to 5 here. They're one of the best. Washington's on the road here. I was thinking they were at home. They're actually on the road here. They're better. They're one of the best offenses in baseball, and they're on the road here, and they're better on the road too. So that's definitely an option, is to take Washington over their team total. So those are some options for you in that game. It's not on my card, but yeah, there are definitely some options there. But you get the way that I'm thinking about that game. Arizona at Atlanta. I believe both of these teams had rest yesterday. Atlanta is staying at home off of beating the Mets. I'm not sure they're really going to be in a letdown mode or anything like that off of that. Arizona is coming in from losing to the Rockies, so it might be good for them to just get out of town, even though they're having to cross time zones. They're going east, which is a lot easier than going west. They're not going to overlook the Braves. Arizona's still fighting for a wild card spot. Braves are in better position here, obviously, because the Braves are atop their division, and I don't see that changing, most likely. So, probably a motivational edge for Arizona here, but the starting pitching edge is going to be on the side of Atlanta. However, the thing is, you're going to have to pay a price for an elite pitcher for Atlanta, Chris Sale. Atlanta does have a good bullpen. They have the better bullpen. They're rested. I don't know why I'm looking at that. Atlanta's number 3 in bullpen, which I think is accurate as far as where they are. Arizona's ranked 5th. However, I still will say I don't think they're that good. They're not bad, but they're not that good. Atlanta is better. Atlanta is the better offense. They're ranked 7th. Arizona's been good since the All-Star break, though. They're up to 18, tied with the Giants. But yeah, Arizona, they're not a good offense over the course of the season, but they've been one of the better offenses in all of baseball since the All-Star break. So something to keep in mind there. They've been a hotter team, and they're making a playoff push here. Arizona's got Brandon Pfaadt on the mound. He's been part of that push. He's been good since they sent him to the minors. They brought him back to the Major League roster. I don't think he's had a single bad start since then. He's got his season-long numbers, which looked really ugly before that. He's got these numbers all back in like a good range here. 3.36 ERA, 1.2 whip. He's been good on the road, kind of. 3.11 road ERA. Those road opponent batting average is still worse, though. But look at what he's done since they sent him down to the minors. He came back on June 30th, and he's allowed no more than 2 earned runs in any start. And the only start of his that Arizona lost was the last one against the Dodgers, and he shut them out for 7 innings, and then the bullpen lost, and they lost in extra innings. So they're almost undefeated since he's come with him on the mound, since he's come back from the minors. He's pitched against some bad teams in here, but he was successful against the Dodgers twice, against Pittsburgh. So I think it's real. I think he is pitching better here. He's not striking a lot of guys out, though. That is one major concern with him. The advanced analytics guys won't like that because his walk rate is somewhat high, although it's been better again since coming back from the minors. His hit rate is okay. He's been better than this to some extent in the past. I think I was remembering mostly 2024. I think I don't know. Maybe it was just I was misremembering. Maybe rose-colored glasses because it looks like he's never really been that good. And this year, his numbers are actually the best that he's ever had this year in some ways. Although his strikeout walk ratio is actually the worst, which is weird because he has his best ERA and whip right now that he's had, although it's been a shorter season for him and he's made some bullpen appearances. But he's pitching better right now. His numbers are getting better, although his strikeout walk ratio is not very good right now in the 2s, and his strikeouts per 9 have gone way down this year as well. So I think I was still kind of right that he had some issues this year. Like the underlying metrics definitely indicate that he's having his worst season this year. But again, he's completely turned it around since coming back from the minors. Strikeouts per 9, very low right now, but might be getting better. He'll be going up against the Braves here. Now, the Braves do hit him well in 95 at-bats. They have a big sample, 295 average, 823 OPS, 20-8 strikeout walk ratio. So these numbers are not good for Fott, even though he is pitching really well since coming back from the minors. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to win in a duel against Chris Sale. However, maybe he can keep his team somehow in this game. But Chris Sale is pitching for Atlanta. Like I said, he's elite still at his older age. 2.2 ERA, 1.02 whip. He's been really good at home, 1.67 home ERA. He's still racking up strikeouts, still not allowing a lot of runs. He's had, what is this? 3 shutouts over his last 5 appearances, although one of them was, I think, rain shortened in there. But yeah, he's not allowing a lot of runs recently, obviously. Really over the course of the season, of course, he has not. He's got a pretty low hit rate. He doesn't really walk anybody. He strikes a lot of guys out still. We got good numbers here from him, man. Even if he's on the downside of his career here, the backside of his career, he still has a ridiculous strikeout walk ratio. It's not as good as it once was, but he's been so elite throughout his career. It's like whatever. Even when he's not at his best, he still has ridiculous numbers. And his strikeouts per 9 is still insane. Like still almost where it was when he was at his best. His numbers against Arizona, you know they're going to be good. But they're not as good as maybe you'd think. In 106 at-bats, 255 average, allowed 716 OPS. So still good. 27-7 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. Good, but not as good as you might think. James McCann is really the guy that does a lot of damage here in a lot of at-bats. So his batting average isn't that good, but he's hit for some power against Sale, but he also strikes out a lot against him. So, yeah, I don't really think Sale is going to pitch poorly here. You have to pay a big price for Atlanta, and you know the professional money is going to be coming in against them. Where is Sale here? 90% of the tickets and only 66% of the cash on Atlanta. They dropped from minus 200 basically all the way down to minus 190 or so. Not a huge move there, but still it looks like the real money is coming in on Arizona here. I think if you're going to do that, you got to take them in the first 5 with Arizona. I don't think you can back their bullpen against Atlanta's. But, yeah, the full game total is at 8. I think maybe an under in the first 5 might make the most, or actually no, full game. Why not? It's not like we're looking at bad bullpens here, right? Even though, I don't know. I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Arizona's bullpen is ass. Like it has been, like last year it was bad. It looked like it was going to be bad again, but they're capable enough. And both teams are rested here. So, yeah, I think a full game under is probably the best way to play this. Fott has been really good since coming back from the minors. I know his matchup numbers are definitely concerning, though. Sale doesn't really have any concerns for me. 90% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the over, which looks like a really public over. So, yeah, I think if you're going to play the game, I think maybe the under is the better way to look at that game than anything else. All right, Yankees in Toronto on Apple TV. This is the other Apple TV game besides the Wrigley afternoon game here. Wriggling out of it. No, I don't know. I don't really have a joke for that. I have no idea. Yankees are going to be coming in from playing Seattle yesterday. Yankees lost the game yesterday to Seattle 1-0. I did still lean to the under there, but Logan Gilbert was way better than I thought he would be in that game, it looks like. And out-dueled Max Fried, I guess, just slightly enough just to win that game. Toronto is staying at home and coming off that loss to the Red Sox yesterday. Now, Toronto, they're playing out the stretch. Not much to play for, but they'll get up for games against the Red Sox and the Yankees, So Toronto will try to win this game at the very least, but the Yankees are going to have a lot of advantages here. The Yankees have the better bullpen. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but not really any of their better relievers. So they will have a bullpen edge, although Toronto's bullpen is okay. Toronto used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. It didn't really go that well for them. Some of their better relievers are available here today, but Yankees will have the bullpen edge. They're number 4 in WHIP, but they're number 2 in ERA. They're one of the top bullpens. Toronto is number 17, but they're an okay bullpen. Yankees are better there. Yankees are better offensively as well, even though they haven't been good recently. They're at 15th. Toronto's dead last, 30th. So they don't really have an advantage there over anybody. Starting pitching looks like you got to give it to the Yankees as well with Garrett Cole on the mound. He's having a good season coming back from injury here. 3.35 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. Slightly worse on the road, 3.52 road ERA. His opponent batting average is also worse on the road. So he's more beatable on the road, but he's been good recently. Like, he's settled down, and he hasn't had a bad start since June at this point. So, yeah, he's pitching really well right now. Hardly walking anybody. He's racking up a good amount of strikeouts here. There's not a lot to dislike about what he's doing right now. He's got a pretty low hit rate. He's not walking really anybody. His strikeout rate's pretty high. So, even though he's not what he once was, yeah, he's pitching well nonetheless. His strikeout walk ratio has gone way up from where it was in 2024. So coming back from injury, it looks like he's actually improved a little bit, although we will see. Strikeouts per 9, I think, have improved slightly. Yeah, only slightly, but not much different, but a slight improvement there as well. And it's still a good number. It's above 9. Cole against Toronto. Not as good as you would think, kind of mediocre numbers here, but I would say I would still be leaning more towards Cole pitching well here. He's got 150 at-bats against them. Vladimir Guerrero and Alejandro Kirk actually both kind of destroy him, but it's just those 2 guys. Nobody else in the lineup does that much against him. 267 average, 722 OPS, 28-6 strikeout walk ratio. I would still lean more towards Cole doing well here. He can get around those 2 guys in the lineup, and Shane Bieber is going for Toronto. He's a mystery, man. I mean, he's had a good career. I like him, so we don't want it to be a shortened career. You know what I mean? These injuries seem to have totally derailed him. When he came back last year, he was good. Then he had another injury, and he hasn't really been very good this year. And he was like an elite pitcher not that long ago when he was on Cleveland, and he's still not old. 5.48 ERA, 1.66 WHIP this year, though that's not good. He's been significantly better at home, though, 2.86 home ERA. Wasn't pitching well last time out against Philly on the road. That wasn't a good start. He was pretty good in the start before that. He's kind of alternating good and bad starts, but 3 of his last 5 have been pretty good. He's a roller coaster, man. He's hard to predict. I don't know what to expect. Sometimes he comes out there and it looks like he's giving you some of his better stuff, and then other times it looks like he's awful. His hit rate is still too high. His walk rate is still way too high. His strikeout rate is still down. So his numbers still don't look good at all. And you look at his career numbers here. Last year when he came back, he was putting up some strong numbers where he looked like his former self. This year, not at all. Strikeout walk ratio, usually around 5, is below 2 this year. Something wrong with him, man. Well, we know it's related to the injuries probably, but last year his strikeouts per 9 was down, but it was still close to 9. It's lower than that this year as well, so that's not good. His numbers against the Yankees are good, but a lot of this was in the past. 25 at-bats. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from Grisham. 200 average, 499 OPS, 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. He has good matchup numbers. He's got the potential to still pitch well here. I mean, this looks like a game the Yankees should probably win, but you're laying a price for it, minus 140 something, and the money is not coming in that way. 63% of tickets, 60% of the cash on the Yankees. The money is backing Toronto. I would say if you're going to back Toronto, I think you should back them first 5 because the Yankees will have a bullpen advantage here. I think it's all about the price. I think it's just, you're paying too much of a price for the Yankees with Cole on the mound, and nobody really likes Bieber anymore, getting kind of disrespected here. he might still be capable of pitching well. You know what I mean? You saw the matchup numbers are still good. He's had some good starts in there still. The good Bieber, I think, is still in there somewhere. Like, he's not that old yet. Full game totals at 8. 67% of tickets on the under, 88% of the cash on the under. I think that is what I would do if I was going to play this game. I think I would just take a shot with the under. I think that's what I would do here. I mean, I think you have decent pitching at least throughout this game. Maybe. I mean, Bieber is the biggest concern. That and Toronto's bullpen rest scenario somewhat. But I would be okay with backing the bullpens here. It's really just what Bieber you're going to get here. That's really the main concern, man. So the other thing you could do is play Toronto to go under their team total. If you think the Yankees are probably going to win and Toronto is not going to hit well because they've been a bad offense, and you think the game's going to go under, Toronto team total under makes sense. But you're going to be looking at, I would guess it'll be 3.5 would be the number. So you need them to score 3 or less. They did score 0 yesterday. So and they scored less than 3.5 in 2 of those 4 games against the Red Sox, even though they won one of them, I believe. So, well, yeah, because yesterday was the only game they didn't win in that series. And the price is similar on the Yankees today that it was to Yankees are similarly priced in this game as the Red Sox were in yesterday's game. Let's put it that way. So Peyton totally getting some respect there. All right, I'll be right back. I'll talk about the rest of these games. I believe I have one more play in here somewhere. I do, in baseball. And I am going to give out a WNBA play because I love pain. I'll be right back. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on, the slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump just continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. All right. Next game is Seattle-Houston. This is one of those games where Houston has a rest advantage, but they also have a disadvantage in that they're returning home from the Pacific Coast. They went to San Diego and San Francisco. They were off yesterday, and the Mariners were not. And the Mariners beat the Yankees yesterday, which is a big win. Houston returning home, though, could be a distracted spot having to get back to home life. However, you know, I think the distraction might come into play here because Houston is 5 games up in the division now over Seattle, at least. Only 2 on Texas, but Texas might be dead. I'll talk about Texas in a minute, but I think they're in trouble. Well, I'll just mention it's because DeGrom got hurt. So, yeah, not good times for Texas here. I think Texas is done. I think the division's going to go to either Seattle or Houston at this point. Seattle could be in a letdown because they beat the Yankees yesterday, but they ended a 6-game losing streak. So you know that what I always talk about when a team loses when they end a losing streak, a lot of times that new momentum will carry forward. Like, you could arguably be in a letdown spot, but I don't really think so. Like, they have to focus on the Astros, right? Seattle's 5 games back in the division. They have a chance here in this series. If they can do something in this series, they got to focus here. So I think you will get focus out of Seattle here. Houston in the return home spot might lack focus. However, they have the rest advantage here, like I said. Seattle did use some of their better relievers yesterday to finish the game off against the Yankees. They used 3 guys. So their bullpen, it's good, but the shape that it's in might not be that good. Houston probably does have the bullpen edge here, which sounds crazy to say. They're ranked 10th in bullpen. Seattle is 16th, although generally I would say Seattle probably is the better bullpen. But because of the usage, I think maybe it tilts the scales towards Houston a little bit here out of the bullpen since they are ranked close. Hitting-wise, there's no doubt Houston's better. Houston is 8th, tied with Miami and Milwaukee. Seattle 28th, tied with Cleveland. Yeah, not good. Not a good sign. Seattle's got George Kirby on the mound. He's pretty good, 3.68 ERA, 1.27 whip. However, he's one of those Seattle pitchers who's definitely better at home than on the road, and he's on the road here. He's got a 4.1 road ERA and a 3.11 opponent batting average on the road. That's not good. So he might be a bit fadeable on the road here. He's made most of his recent starts at home, and his last road start was very bad against Texas, which is not a good sign. His command numbers have mostly been good over that stretch, although recently his strikeout rate's just gone way down, and I don't know exactly why. He's not a huge strikeout pitcher to begin with, though, but he's been too hittable. That's been his problem. His hit rate is actually too high. His walk rate is fine. It's low, in fact. It's good. His strikeout rate is, I would say, too low as well, though. He doesn't really strike that many guys out. But because he doesn't walk anybody, his strikeout-walk ratio is still good, so I would still consider him to be good. His strikeouts per 9, it's gone down this year a bit from what he has done in the past. It's not awful, but it's not great. Kirby, having one of his lesser seasons right now, really. Against Houston, he's been pretty good. They have 172 at-bats against him, so they've seen a lot of him, and they have a 256 average, which is okay, but a 579 OPS, so they really have not hit him for power. He has good command numbers against them, 36 strikeouts, 5 walks. So I think Kirby might do well here. Peter Lambert is pitching for Houston. He's having the only good season that he's ever had, 3.09 ERA, 1.15 whip. With him, you got to worry about the innings count because he's thrown more innings this year than he ever has before, and he's getting up there a little bit, but it's not too high yet. I would say you got to keep an eye on him a little bit. His walk number's kind of gone up recently. He's gone a little bit less far into some of these games recently. Still not allowing that many runs, though. He is still pitching pretty effectively here. He's got a really low hit rate on the season. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is almost 1 per inning, so that's not bad. His strikeout-walk ratio is not really that good, though, actually, because his walk rate it could be better, for sure, so that's a little bit of an issue there. His strikeouts per 9 are at their highest that they ever have been this year, which is a good sign for him. He's going up against a pretty weak Seattle offense, and they have not done much against him. They have 39 at-bats, 205 average, 570 OPS, 14-3 strikeout-walk ratio. What do we do with this game? I would probably say under. I think that might be the way to approach this. Both bullpens should be in all right shape to get it done. I know Seattle had some usage yesterday, but they're generally a pretty good bullpen. Houston's is rested, and I think they're a good bullpen as well. The screen won't load. Up here it is. The money's not agreeing with that, though. The total's 8.5, 56% of tickets on the under, 92% of the cash on the over. Money coming in on the over. I disagree. I would say under in this game. My main concern would be Kirby is not good on the road. That's my main concern here. And his matchup numbers are kind of mediocre against Houston. But the money is backing Seattle. I think it's because it's the return home spot for Houston. I don't really want to come in and do that, though, because Kirby, again, he's not that good on the road. Seattle, not rested, had a big win yesterday over the Yankees. That worries me a little bit. But Seattle should have a lot of motivation here still. And it's the return home spot for Houston. 67% of tickets on Houston, 87% of the cash on Seattle. Houston's at about minus 120 something here, down from minus 130. So legit money looks like it is coming in and backing Seattle. And I think some of it might be the advanced analytics guys saying that Kirby is more legit than Lambert. Maybe, but again, I don't like some of the numbers that I'm seeing here. Well, really from either of them. But I don't know, man. I mean, overall, I still think the pitching is just better in that game than it is in most games. So I would say under still. All right. And Houston might have distracted hitting coming back home from the road. So that would stifle the better of the two offenses a bit if that was the case. Kansas City and Anaheim. This is my other play here. People might have not predicted this one. I'm going to go with Kansas City in the first 5 here. I think they have a situational edge. They have a rest edge, I believe, here, and I think they have the starting pitching edge here. So let's take Kansas City and avoid their bad bullpen because their bullpen still sucks, although I know they didn't use anybody yesterday because they rested. Anaheim's bullpen isn't good, and they did use 3 guys yesterday, but I don't want to deal with it. The Royals are one of the worst bullpens. They're ranked dead last. I think they're probably better than the A's, but that's not saying much. Angels bullpen is 22nd. They're better than the Royals, though, so I'm going to avoid the Royals bullpen here, even though they are rested. Offensively, Anaheim's been pretty ugly. 27th, not good, and they're not good at home either. So I think their offense definitely could be held down here. The Royals, not good at 22nd, but they've been the better offense over Anaheim, even though the Royals have not been good on the road offensively. We're going to need some offense here for them to actually hit this, although if it's a nothing game, it'll push at least. I don't think it will be, though, because these pitchers just aren't really that good, but we're going to back Seth Lugo, who I think is the better of the 2 pitchers right now, even though he's been very mediocre here. 4.41 ERA, 1.37 whip. He's not good on the road, I know. 5.31 road ERA, 294 road opponent batting average. That's not good. He was good in his last start, though, against the Cubs, so maybe that's a decent sign. Most of his recent starts have been good. He had a bad start in Coors Field, but I'm kind of willing to give him a pass for that because it was Coors Field. And if you take that out, he's had 4 of his last 5 starts have been good. That's the only start that wasn't good, so he is in kind of good form right now, although he only had 1 other road start in there, but it was fairly good against Minnesota. He's got a high hit rate. I get that. It's not really that good. His walk rate is kind of mediocre. His strikeout rate's not really that high. I get all that those numbers aren't really that good. He's not as good as he once was. He had some pretty good seasons in here back in the day. Most of it is a relief pitcher, though. As a starter, he was decent as well, and I get it. He's not as good the last 2 seasons, really, but this year he's kind of matched what he did last year, so whatever. But, yeah, his strikeout walk ratio is below 3, which isn't excellent, I know. Strikeout per 9 has gone down as well. I mean, of course, it was higher when he was a reliever, though, because when you're a reliever, you got your best stuff right out of the gate, and then you're done. But as a starter, your stuff diminishes. But we're going first 5 here, too, so hopefully we get the best of Lugo early in the game, and he's still not pitching that horribly. And also, he's going up against an Angels offense that isn't good, and they are only mediocre against Lugo. 48 at bats, 271 average allowed. I know that's not great. That is kind of high. 744 OPS, right around that 750 cutoff, but I still like him over Grayson Rodriguez, that's who we're going to fade here, plus the spot. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk for Lugo in there. The other thing I forgot to mention is some of this is also not just about the fact that Anaheim played yesterday. They didn't sweep. They won the last 3 of their 4 games against the Rangers and shut them out yesterday. So I think the Anaheim might be in a letdown spot here, man. I mean, you understand they would get up for a series against their divisional foe, Texas, and try to get that thing done. You know what I mean? And that was probably considered to be a big win for them. Do you think they're really going to put in that much effort coming off those big games after they knocked DeGrom out of the game and then won that game? But they won that game kind of misleadingly because DeGrom, he was injured in the 2nd inning, so he got taken out of that game. And Urania did pitch well again for Anaheim, and I think I said first 5 under in that game. I'm not sure if it hit or not, though, because I know DeGrom gave up a couple runs right before he got hurt, or maybe because he got hurt. I don't know. But Anaheim, Urania's not on the mound for them today, so they're going to have a much worse pitcher here. So there are some things that were specific about that matchup that helped them win that game, or specific about that game. And you actually saw, I think I showed you yesterday, DeGrom, I think his numbers against Anaheim were actually bad, I think, as well, which is interesting. But yeah, anyway, Anaheim, they're not going to do as well here. They might be in a letdown spot here. Plus, they have no days off, like I said, whereas Kansas City does have time off here. And Kansas City, I know they're coming in from playing L.A., but they're staying in the L.A. area with a day off, so I think that's good, right? So the travel spot is nothing for both teams. Neither team is traveling, so that, Kansas City is fine with that, obviously, just going 30 minutes up the road or whatever to play this game. Yes, I know they're coming off a big series against the Dodgers, but I don't think Kansas City is really going to overlook anybody. And again, they have the rest edge, and we're going to fade Grayson Rodriguez here, he's just been bad, dude. I mean, it looked like he might be all right trending in the right direction with Baltimore. An injury totally derailed him, and he hasn't been able to come back from that this year. 7.2 ERA, 1.62 whip. That's not good. His strikeout walk ratio is not good. It's below 2. So you want to complain about Lugo's numbers. Rodriguez's are worse, even though his strikeout rate is actually better. But I don't care because the rest of his numbers aren't good. He's been awful at home. 9.1 home ERA with a 336 opponent batting average at home. That's some really fadeable stuff. He was not good in his last outing at Miami, so that's not good. He's not going deep into most of his outings. He's had, I don't know, man. I mean, he's had really like 2 good outings in here, I guess I would say, maybe. Not good. He's got a high hit rate, high walk rate. Strikeout rate is decent, like I said, but the rest of these numbers, not good at all. And against Kansas City, we have a limited sample, but they've done damage against them. The 5 hitters who have seen him, 11 at-bats, they have a 455 average against him, 1571 OPS, home runs from Isbell and Perez, of course, who else? Although I know Perez is way older now, but yeah, I say we do it. It's about the spot. I think we do get the better starting pitcher on the mound as well. We get the rest edge here as well. Let's take the Royals in the first 5. Which is right around kind of where it is in the full game. It's kind of just like a pick-em price here. So they have 61% of tickets, 64% of the cash on them. So the money looks like it might be kind of agreeing with that. I mean, I don't really think the public is getting involved in this game heavily at all. I don't think they're going to want either team here, really. They might lean more towards Anaheim, though, because Anaheim's been playing better baseball recently. Although Kansas City, sneakily, man, they were pretty competitive against the Dodgers, you know what I mean? I know it could be a hangover coming off the Dodgers series, but if you're playing competitively against the Dodgers, Anaheim is a big-time step down from what the Dodgers are, obviously. You're talking about possibly going from playing the best team in baseball to playing debatably maybe even the worst team in baseball in Anaheim. So, although you could debate Kansas City's the worst, I don't know. The money's also somewhat back in the under, it looks like, but it's a public under as well, although I don't really see that being the case. Do you really think the public is coming in and playing it under in this? I mean, I guess if their thoughts about it are these are 2 bad teams, so they can't score, so let's play the under. Maybe that thought's going around there. I don't know, man. Total's at 8.5 there. I got nothing on the total in that one, though. But Kansas City first 5 is the play. Texas and the A's. Texas coming off that game where one of their best pitchers got injured, Jacob deGrom. That's really going to hurt Texas in the stretch run, man, if it's going to if he's going to be out for a while, they're in trouble. They need him for that stretch run. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Things aren't loading fast for me either right now. The A's, they're coming off getting swept by Tampa. They're staying at home. They had yesterday off, so the A's have a rest advantage here against Texas because Texas played yesterday. And because DeGrom got injured, Texas had to use a lot of their bullpen. They used 5 guys out of the bullpen. So they have the better bullpen over the A's, but their bullpen hasn't been that good this year, and they're not in good shape here. The A's are rested, although they're still a very unbackable bullpen. I think these bullpens are both totally unbackable in this game. Texas 19th in bullpen to begin with. That's not good. A's are 29th, but I think they're the worst. Hitting-wise, both teams are reasonably capable. A's are 16th. Rangers are 20th now, though they're not as good. But we are looking at a hitter-friendly ballpark here. So, you see where I'm going with this. Like, the over, I think, is in play in this game, potentially. Kumar Rockers pitching for Texas. He's been okay. 4.46 ERA, 1.38 whip. His strikeout walk ratio has never been that impressive. It's below 3. Strikeout per 9 is okay in the 8s. A lot of okay here. He's actually, well, I think you could make the argument he is worse on the road, even though his ERA is better, 3.79. His ERA is a run better on the road, but his opponent batting average is way worse on the road, 276 road opponent batting average. It's just that he's allowed way more home runs at home, although he's pitched way more innings at home too. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but I think Rocker might get rocked in this game, or might at least give up something in this game, because I don't think he's really that good. His hit rate is right at 1 per inning. His walk rate's kind of high. Strikeout rate is mediocre. It's not horrible, but he's not like a huge strikeout pitcher. He's going up against an A's offense in the A's stadium, by the way. And the A's have hit him well in 37 at-bats. They only have 7 guys who have faced him, but a 378 average, 1,047 OPS, 6.5 strikeout walk ratio. None of those numbers are good for Rocker. And you got to see, is he fly ball heavy? I mean, he's not that fly ball heavy, but he has a lot of home runs this year, so he is liable to give up some home runs here in this A's stadium, which is something you got to be aware of because the stadium is very home run conducive. Gage Jump is pitching for the A's. Is that really how you pronounce his name? Or is it like, I don't know, Gaye Hump? Like, I seriously have no idea how his name is supposed to be pronounced. He's from Aliso Viejo, California, so I'm wondering if it's like, I don't know, is this Spanish? I have no idea. Gage Jump, though, he's got a 4.46 ERA, 1.46 whip, which I know doesn't look that good, but it's mostly because he's been bad pitching in this stadium. 6.16 home ERA, and again, he is there here today, so 302 opponent batting average at home. He's been way better on the road. He's actually been pretty good on the road. I think he's actually a good pitcher, but pitching in this stadium has really, really been pretty ugly. He's coming off a really nice effort with 11 strikeouts at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Picked up a win. He beat the Red Sox twice during that span where the Red Sox were on fire. He was the only pitcher to beat the Red Sox during that span. And the Red Sox, only lost 2 games during that entire stretch, and both of them were against Gage Jump. Really crazy. Do I think Jump is actually going to do that well here? Maybe not. His hit rate is too high on the season. His walk rate is too high, so that's another thing. He's got to get his walks under control. His strikeout rate is good. Like, he's got talent. He's got a good strikeout rate. His strikeout walk ratio is still not good because his walk rate's too high. Ks per 9, though, over 10, that's really good for a rookie. So he's got really good talent here. I think he needs to try to get on a different team, man. He'll be way better if he's not pitching in this A's stadium. And if a coach can work with him and get his command in check, which I don't think is going to happen with the A's necessarily because they suck. Their pitching is bad. Now, Jump has never faced the Rangers before, so he does have an advantage there where the Rangers haven't seen him before, so that is an advantage to him. You know, I mean, the A's do have a rest edge, and I do think probably Jump is the preferred starter here based on what we see here where he's got unfamiliarity, whereas Rocker has bad matchup numbers. So I think I would lean to the A's. Oh, temporary unavailable. Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. Wager Talk pregame is just completely dead, and Wager Talk is, not letting me load this page. That's just great. Thanks, guys. So I guess I'm not going to be able to use the market anymore here. But I would say first 5 A's makes some sense here. You'll probably pay a little bit more than what the money line is, which is minus 115 or so. I think you'll pay a little bit more for it in the first 5, but because everybody knows their bullpen's bad. But I think that's a way to lean in this game. And I would say over the 9.5 is the other way to look in that game. So those, I think, are the 2 options in that game. I think maybe the over is preferable to anything else, but I would also, again, lean to the A's in the first 5. Thanks, guys. All right. Milwaukee and Dodgers, ESPN Unlimited game here. This is one of the big series of the weekend here. I believe it's a weekend series. Yeah, it's Friday, right? So all these are weekend series. This series started yesterday, and I told you I thought Milwaukee had a decent shot to get that game, and they did. They won 5-4. Dodgers might be in a bounce-back spot after that, though. You know what I mean? Dodgers are the better team, and I think in this game they're going to have the better starting pitcher. They have the better hitting. They don't have the better bullpen. So that's the one disadvantage I think that the Dodgers have in this game is the bullpen. They use 5 guys out of the bullpen, and they're not the better bullpen to begin with. Milwaukee used 3, although they did use their closer. So Milwaukee, I think, still is the better bullpen. They're ranked 8th. The Dodgers are 12th. But Milwaukee's got an ERA out of the bullpen, half a run better. Dodgers are the better offense. They're 2nd, although I think they're a little bit better on the road. Milwaukee is 8th, tied with Houston and Miami. Milwaukee obviously is still a capable offense. So these offenses can both do some damage. Milwaukee's going with Robert Gasser in this game, though, and he's mediocre. I think he is better than his 4.57 ERA. Makes him look 1.22 whip is not that bad. He's not good on the road, though. 5.87 road ERA, so that's a problem. Wasn't really good last time out against Minnesota. He looks to be dwindling a little bit. Like his starts have kind of gotten a little bit worse recently. He's not going as deep into some of these games. His hit rate is still okay. He doesn't really walk anybody. His strikeout rate is decent as well. So those numbers look all right. His strikeout walk ratio in the 3s, definitely not too bad. Strikeouts per 9 actually at their highest this year, so not too bad either. However, again, he's bad on the road, and he's facing a very good offense here, and the Dodgers have gotten to him in the past. 19 at-bats against him, 368 average, 1426 OPS, 6-3 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't really want to try to back Gasser in this one, and he's obviously the lesser pitcher going up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who has a 2.65 ERA, 0.89 whip. Really good stuff here, although he's actually been less good at home, 3.28 home ERA, but his opponent batting average at home is still below 200. So it's kind of been the home runs being a little bit of an issue for him at home, which is a little weird. He's good, though, man. I mean, he had an outing where he was walking too many guys last time out against Arizona, but he still got through that start. He's been kind of alternating good and bad starts as far as the walks are concerned, but I don't think it's a major issue with him. He's really hard to hit, so he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is not bad either. His strikeout rate's pretty good as well. I mean, we know he's a good pitcher. His strikeout-walk ratio is 4. That's a solid number. He's not the greatest strikeout pitcher, and in fact, his strikeout stuff has actually gone down this year from where it was last year, so maybe that's a little bit concerning, but yeah, I mean, he's a good pitcher overall. We know this. He's one of the best pitchers on the Dodgers staff, and he's been good against Milwaukee in 49 at-bats, 204 average, 604 OPS allowed, 7-4 strikeout-walk ratio, so the ratio's not good. The rest of the numbers are good. I think the Dodgers are the way to look in this game. Oh, yeah, I keep going back to that tab, and we can't see the fucking numbers. Dodgers, though, if you're going to play them, they're at minus 193, so it's like the price is too high on the Dodgers here. You can't really play them that way. You could lay the minus 1.5 run line if you wanted to, I guess. Maybe that is actually the way to play this, even though I know it seems dangerous and the Dodgers have not won. Like, over their last stretch, even when they've been winning games again, they only won one game by more than that, and it was a 2-run win against the Royals. So their wins recently against the Royals, 2 of them were by 1 run, and in that stretch, they were losing most of their games in this recent stretch. So I think they haven't won. Besides that one game against the Royals where they won by 2, they haven't won a game by more than 1 run, probably going back 2 weeks. So that is kind of a concern if you're going to lay the run line with the Dodgers here. I'm assuming the money is not going to be backing them in this game, but I do think it's a bounce back spot for them. I think there might be some ways to look at this. I do think I would still lay the run line, even though the total is low at 7.5. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's the way to take it. Well, actually, you know what? I would do the first 5 run line, right? Because I don't like the Dodgers bullpen, but I think Yamamoto over Gasser is a look, but it'll be a price. You know what I mean? You might even have to lay like a -1 run line in the first 5, which is not fun to do. Although you just need them to be winning at the end of 5, and if they're winning by at least 1, it'll at least push. But then, of course, you could look at the team totals market. You could take Dodgers to just go over their team total. Maybe that's an option. Or you could go with Milwaukee to go under their team total. Or you could do both. You know what I mean? Like, take your bet size and put half on Milwaukee under team total and the other half on the Dodgers over their team total and make them independent bets. And then if one of them cashes, you won't, be busted or anything. But when you do something like that, like to actually win money on that, you need them both to hit, though. And if they both hit, it's highly likely the Dodgers are just going to cash on the run line. So, maybe that's stupid. But you could isolate the one of the two that you think is better. I don't know which one, but given that the total's low, maybe Milwaukee team total under. I don't like that either, though, because I don't like the Dodgers bullpen. So I actually think, I don't know. Dodgers over their team total actually might be the better way to play it. All right. Oh, we're back. Hell yeah. So looking at, we don't see any percentages on that Texas A's game with the side. We do see money coming in on the under in that game, which I did not agree with. So that's interesting, I guess. And then we have the game that I just talked about. The money is fading the Dodgers, as I expected. They're in the -170s range, like I said. So 82% of tickets, 79% of the cash on them. Whatever. I mean, it looks like the money is backing Milwaukee. I wouldn't do it. Money is backing the over, though, over 7.5. So I think, looking at all that, Dodgers team total over might be the better approach in that game. And then we have a really ugly game to close it out, Colorado and San Francisco, 2 teams that are going nowhere. This is taking way too long to get through the baseball slate. I think me adding the extra pitching stats, I got to figure out a way to kind of condense this, man. I don't know how to do it, though, because baseball is the only sport where I'm getting into all the matchup numbers like this. San Francisco staying at home. I think both teams are off yesterday. San Francisco's been losing a bunch of games recently. They don't hit well at home. Colorado will be traveling in from Arizona, so not really a bad travel spot here, but they did just win the series against Arizona. So they're putting in effort at least, although I guess you could argue maybe a letdown component to this. I don't know, but I don't think they're really going to overlook any of their divisional opponents. Looking on the surface, it looks like San Francisco has the better starter here, but I'm not quite so sure about that. Both bullpens are rested, but the bullpens aren't very good. San Francisco's is 24th, Colorado 27th, so I wouldn't really want to back the bullpens here, even if they are rested. Colorado is the better offense. They're 5th. The Giants are 18th, tied with Arizona. Like I said, I thought the Giants would fall off offensively. Kyle Freeland is pitching for the Rockies. Not good. 6.63 ERA, 1.5 whip. He's actually worse on the road outside of Coors Field, which, go figure. I can't figure it, but 7.81 road ERA and a 3.20 opponent batting average on the road. That's bad. He had one really good start at home against Kansas City, and then, of course, he followed that up with another pretty questionable outing on the road against St. Louis. So, yeah, he's not good. I don't think there's much else to say here. His hit rate's high. He doesn't walk guys, so that's a good thing, but he does allow a lot of home runs, although we're not in Coors Field here. But he allows them on the road, too. His strikeout rate is also kind of low. Although his strikeout-walk ratio actually won't be that bad because he actually doesn't walk like anybody, but he basically serves up batting practice. He's just way too hittable, and his strikeout per 9 is like kind of okay. And then, Freeland against San Francisco. Whoops. I believe he actually does do well against San Francisco. Again, proving that I'm right, that they're not a good offense. If they can't even hit Freeland. They have 58 at-bats against him, 155 average, 542 OPS, 16-2 strikeout walk ratio. That's ridiculous. So Freeland actually does do well against them. But he's still bad on the road. He's still not a good pitcher. Landon Raup is pitching for the Giants. He's got okay-looking numbers here, 4.22 ERA, 1.29 whip. He's better at home, 4 ERA at home, sub 200 opponent batting average at home. His walks have been out of control recently, though, literally. He's walking way too many guys. 3+ in the last 2 outings, 9 in the last 9 innings. That's not going to cut it. That's not good. You can't do that. His hit rate is still pretty low. His walk rate is a big problem. He walks way too many guys. He does get a lot of strikeouts, though, and a lot of ground balls. But his strikeout walk ratio is going to be ugly because of the walks. He walks way too many guys. He's got to figure that out. Strikeout per 9, pretty good. So Raup does have some talent, but the walks are a huge issue with him. His numbers against Colorado, they're 0 for 11 off him. They only have 3 hitters who have faced him. Surprisingly, they haven't faced him more than that. 0 for 11 with 6 strikeouts. That's kind of insane. So, even though I was looking at this game and I was thinking the full game over made some sense, the total's really low at 7.5. It's a pitcher-friendly park. That seems really low for a Rockies game, but oddsmaker's kind of telling you something. I actually think you could maybe try to play the first 5 under in this one. I mean, it's definitely dangerous. I'm not going to do it. I mean, these pitchers are not that good, but they do seem to have the matchup edges here. And the money is coming in on the under. 56% of tickets on the over, 57% of the cash on the under. You're going to be looking at a 3.5, though, with Kyle Freeland being one of them. I know I've played some unders with Raup, but Kyle Freeland, oh, God, on the road, playing it under with him, yeah, it's not going to make the cut for me. But if I was going to play this game, I guess that would have to be my lean. First 5 under, and you'll be looking at 3.5. Oh, boy. 69% of tickets, 89% of the cash on San Francisco. They're around minus 120 something. They're getting the money here. I could see the argument for it. I mean, they're staying at home. Raup is overall better than Freeland. San Francisco, I guess, will give you the bullpen edge, too. I guess it makes some sense to look towards San Francisco, but, yeah, I mean, tough to gauge. Neither team is going to be that motivated. I don't think, all right, let's go to WNBA. Let's try to get this done. Only 2 WNBA games. The more interesting one is the first game, which is not where my play is. Dallas and Indiana. Indiana, I just saw their coach there. She sucks, dude. She's refusing to back Sophie Cunningham, and Caitlin Clark is refusing to as well. Sophie Cunningham's out on an island, man, and even her own coach won't back her. Indiana's coach should be fired. Even though they're having a decent season, they're 21-12. Rush rules, man. Indiana's coming off a huge win over New York. They just beat New York again. Seems like they have New York's number, like I said yesterday. So it could be a letdown for them, staying at home, coming off that big win. I don't think they're really going to overlook Dallas, though. That's the thing. This is the big thing. Oh, it's Caitlin Clark against Paige Beckers and Azzy Fudd. So it's the matchup that has the last 3 number 1 draft picks in the league all playing in this one game. So it's kind of a thing. So maybe they won't overlook Dallas. Dallas is not going to overlook Indiana. And Dallas is in the better conference, the West. Although they've been struggling recently, though. They just won a game to break a losing streak, though. They beat Toronto. Not really much of a big deal, but they beat them at home and barely beat them. But it's still a good win because they ended a losing streak, and it's not going to make you overconfident beating a bad team like Toronto. Now they're starting a road trip. I think they have one less day off than Indiana does. I might be remembering that wrong, but whatever. Dallas starting a road trip should be a decent focus spot for them. So I will lean Dallas in this game. It's not a strong opinion for me, but I would play Dallas. Indiana looks public, 72% of tickets, 74% of the cash. It looks like they're getting some of the money right now, up to a 7.5 on them. I would look towards taking the points with Dallas. The over might be in play here as well. The total's high in the 180s, and it's because both teams play fast and they score and they're not good on defense. So you have that type of combination. That's why the total's got to be that high in the 180s, which is pretty high. Man, it's possible it's not high enough. I don't quite want to do it, although, Indiana kind of in a letdown spot, possibly off of that loss. However, if both teams are going to focus enough on this game, that usually means the defense will at least try to show up. So I'd rather play the over in a game where the game is kind of more meaningless. You know what I mean? Games like this, important games tend to trend more towards the under. But I will say the style of matchup here does look like an over, and the money is coming in on the over. But I think Dallas plus the 7.5 or whatever might be the way. The next game is a play for me. We have to get on the right track with the WNBA. Dude, we have so many losses that are bullshit in the WNBA, including last night. It's unbelievably frustrating. But we're going to take one. Nobody's going to like this play. We're going to take Seattle minus 2.5 here. If you want to lay the money line, you could probably get like minus 140 on the money line. You could do it that way and play it like a college basketball game. But I'm just going to lay the points here. Nobody's going to want to do this. Seattle and Portland, look at their records, right? Who's going to want to lay points with a team with the worst record in the entire league with Seattle here, right? Well, I'm going to do it. First thing is, the odds makers are not giving money away. You know what I mean? This line's already up to 3.5, by the way. Actually, it looks like you can still get 2.5 at FD. Looks like there were some threes out there. I apologize. I found the number earlier this morning. FD still has it at that number, so it looks like. So I would say get out there and do it. It looks like the money is heavily agreeing with me on Seattle. But again, if it's around 3, you could look at the money line and lay like minus 150, and you might win the bet and I might not. I would be pissed if Seattle wins and they don't cover. I would be super pissed. Supersonically pissed, Seattle. Anyway, the public's going to look at this and there's no way they're going to play Seattle, right? Why would you do that? Why would you lay points with the team with the worst record? Well, that tells me something that the odds makers are saying, well, they're favored here. They're favored for a reason. The odds makers are telling you maybe Seattle's not quite as bad as their record looks, even though they're one of the worst teams, but Portland is also one of the worst teams, despite what their record looks. Now that teams have gotten a look at Portland, they're going to have Portland more figured out now, you know what I mean? And I think we have a good spot to fade Portland here. If you see what Portland did in their last game, they played Minnesota. They had Minnesota come into Portland here. Minnesota, the best team in the league. And what did Portland do in that game? They were losing that game by 30 points in the middle of the game, and they made one of the most epic comebacks that you'll ever see, and they got back to within 1 point with 2 minutes left in that game and then still fell short. How do you get back up off the mat after that? I always say something like that. When you're a huge underdog, you're getting blasted in the game too, and then you make this insane comeback, and you almost pull off the upset still after being down 30 points. Do you know how much effort that takes? Yeah, it takes a lot. And then to still not win the game, I would fade them either way. If they won that game or if they lost, either way, that was a giant effort from them. I don't see them having it in this game against Seattle, and they do have an ESPN game next against Phoenix, and I know Phoenix isn't that good, but with Plum there, although I don't even know if she's going to be healthy and playing. I think she's hurt right now. But still, that's probably a bigger game than the Seattle game. And it's also probably bigger because guess who Portland played right before they had that huge game against Minnesota? Yeah, they beat Seattle in Portland. And in fact, they're 3-0 against Seattle this year. They beat Seattle twice at home, although they beat them by 5 and 7. And they beat them on the road by 5. But if you dig into those box scores, especially the most recent one, it was close, although I am worried that the game in Seattle got dominated on the rebound. They got dominated in the rebound department. That does worry me a little bit, but I still think the spot is horrible for Portland. I think Seattle will finally get one here after they've seen Portland 3 times now. Portland might just overlook Seattle, you know what I mean? Because they've won 3 games against them already. I believe they're 3-0 against them. Seattle, I like the spot they're in a lot better because they just got a win over Chicago, and that's just going to be a confidence-building win, but it also ended a really long losing streak. So I like that. They had a huge losing streak going on, and they finally got off the schneid or whatever. They lost 11 games in a row, I think, and then finally won in a return home spot. They caught Chicago at a good time. I told you, I actually liked Seattle in that game, and the only reason I didn't do it is because they were in a return home spot, but Chicago was in a bad spot in that one, like a sandwich spot. So yes, Seattle took advantage of that, but they were still in a return home spot, which isn't good. Any way you look at it, though, what I will say is it was a game where they ended a losing streak. And when you end a long losing streak like this, it's finally like you get that monkey off your back. You don't have that looming over you anymore. You can just focus on basketball again. I think they will be focused because their last loss was the game before that to Portland. They know they're 0-3 against Portland. They've gotten looks at them. They're the favorite here. They're favored for a reason. I think Portland might have kind of some injury in play here as well. I'm not too worried about that, but it looks like the money is definitely agreeing with me. 67% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Seattle. Let's get a fucking win in the WNBA again, man. We won with the WNBA last year. I'm pretty sure that we have the same amount of wins and losses right now. We're 500 in the WNBA this year, which is losing, which we were winning until I lost the last 2. And last night was bullshit. Let's get this one right. Seattle, -2.5. McAdoo, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right. And then NFL preseason. We got some games here. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday, by the way, teams with new coaches. Like, I did lean to Pittsburgh anyway, but Pittsburgh, Vegas, although they didn't win, and I liked Arizona because Arizona already had a game under their belt. But you had teams with new coaches, which were, I think, yesterday it was just Pittsburgh and Vegas, though. That's one thing that I mentioned during the Hall of Fame game. One of the things that I kind of liked about Arizona was teams with new coaches tend to do really well in the first game in the preseason because they actually show up and try to win. You know what I mean? They want to show up. Like, the coach actually takes the game more seriously because they want to make sure that the guys know what they're running and they actually go out there and try to do it. Whereas teams that are, just they already have their coach, whatever, and it's more like they're going through the motions, you know what I mean? So something to keep in mind there, and that worked out for Pittsburgh. My best lean yesterday, Indianapolis got fucked because Anthony Richardson, I don't know if you saw that game, early in the game, Colts were driving in New England territory. Anthony Richardson had a terrible play, terrible decision-making where he was under pressure and he should have just checked it down. He had 2 different check down options that he easily could have gotten the ball to just to make sure that it would have been like a small gain, whatever. But you don't die on the play. And instead, he took off and he ran with the ball. And he did gain some yardage, and that would be fine if he held onto the ball, if he slid down, whatever. But he didn't do it. He fumbled the football over, and it was like right around the New England 20. So he threw away a drive where and Indianapolis was at least going to score 3 on that, and if they did, you would have at least pushed your bet there with Indianapolis. So, yeah, I don't know, whatever. This is why I don't do preseason, man. It's just too insane. We have Denver and Atlanta as the first game in preseason tonight, and what I talk about with preseason is you got to gauge motivation, and you got to gauge the quarterback rotation, even though it's really hard to gauge how much each quarterback is going to play in the game, you know what I mean? So it's difficult to figure that out. So, yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of way like up in the air. You have no idea who's going to play for how long. So sometimes you can look at like first halves where it's kind of more predictable. Like, this first quarterback out of the gate is going to be out there early, you know what I mean? But even then, it's still kind of difficult to predict, like, because the coach might want to see more of one quarterback than another if they're trying out like this young guy. Maybe the young guy's not their second quarterback in the depth chart, but he wants to see what the guy has early in preseason, Denver, Atlanta, though. Atlanta has Kevin Stefanski. He's their new coach. He used to be the coach of the Browns. So Atlanta does qualify as a team with a new coach, and they tend to do well in the first game of the preseason. And some of it is also that the opponent won't know what they're going to run under this new scheme. You know what I mean? And maybe Denver won't take this seriously. However, Denver might, because Sean Payton, this didn't used to be the case, but over like the last few years, Sean Payton has been known for trying to win preseason games, and I don't think he's going to play the starter. Like, I don't think he's going to put Bo Nix out there or anything like that, but he does try to win these preseason games, and I believe he's won 7 in a row, something like that. You can check me if I'm wrong about that, but it seems like he's the new John Harbaugh, if you will, which will be something to talk about with Harbaugh with the Giants tomorrow. Harbaugh won like a ton of preseason games in a row when he was with the Ravens before he eventually lost that streak, I think a few years ago, to Washington, I believe is what it was. And once he did that, he stopped really caring. But when you're trying to win preseason and then you're in the middle of that streak, you keep trying to win. So I think Sean Payton is in that mode right now. So I don't really necessarily want to fade Sean Payton here. But if we're going to look at the quarterback rotation here, which is kind of, like I said, one of the more other important things to look at here, Denver's not going to be using Bo Nix in this game, especially because, he's coming off that injury he got in the postseason against the Patriots in the last game. So they're not going to want to put him out there yet. You know what I mean? Don't get him injured, whatever. The rest of their rotation, I mean, they got Jarrett Stidham. I think he's better than people think, and he played in that playoff game against the Patriots. The Bo Nix got injured in the previous game. It was against Buffalo, right? Yeah. He got injured at the very end of the Buffalo game, and then Stidham played against the Patriots. Because I remember that was one of my plays on the show, the injured player theory. It was a major overreaction with New England. I believe we got that game right with Denver covering, although they did not win. Stidham, though, he's experienced, man. I mean, he's been around for a while, played in that playoff game, so he's played some high-pressure situations, which this, of course, is not. So I think he qualifies as a guy that maybe you could back in the preseason because he's got experience. And then they also have Sam Ehlinger. I don't know how to pronounce his Ehlinger. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's been around for a while, too. He's nothing special, but he does have experience, at least. So their backups don't look good, but they do have some experience there, and I think they're maybe a little bit underrated. As far as Atlanta's concerned, I think Penix is actually their starter, but they have him listed second behind Tua here. And Penix looks like he's injured, so I honestly have no idea what Atlanta's doing here. But if either one of them is going to come into this game, they got experienced quarterbacks here. I mean, and Cooper Rush behind that. All these guys have experience in the NFL at this one, although Penix is a lot younger, but Tua is very experienced. I think whatever they do here, you're probably going to see a lot of Tua in this game, I would guess, because I still think Penix is actually their starter. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe Tua is actually going to be the starter to start the season, and maybe he's not going to play in this game, but I don't know. But Penix is also questionable. Cooper Rush, I mean, he's got experience playing in the NFL as a backup. And then I have no idea who Jack Strand is. I think he might be some younger guy that they might want to try to see what he's got. Who the hell is he? I have no idea. That's right. He's a Division II quarterback who went to Minnesota Moorhead, not Moorhead State, what's his name? The Manimal, Kenneth Fareed, not where that guy went, but Minnesota Moorhead, whatever. It's interesting, man. I mean, he must have been really good, though, in Division II if he's going to be in the NFL. You know what I mean? Division II guys, you don't see that many of them make the NFL. And usually when they do, they're pretty good. So I don't know. So maybe Strand will be out there, and maybe he actually won't be that bad. I don't know. I kind of like Atlanta here, man. I think their quarterback rotation does look better than Denver's. You're getting points here with them. It's in Atlanta. Of course, the home team is hosting all these games here. Atlanta's getting the money, 61% of tickets, 86% of the cash on them. You might be able to find a 4 on them. It looks like it's mostly 3.5. Yeah, I mean, if I was going to play the game, I'm not going to do it because it's, preseason's not really my thing and it's way too unpredictable. But yeah, taking Atlanta plus the points at home with that quarterback rotation, it looks like they're going to be bringing out there. Might be the way to go, and they might be trying to win under their new coach. I don't like Stefanski, though, man. Like, I might lean Atlanta in this game and in individual games and situations or whatever, but Stefanski, yeah, I don't think he's a good coach. I think the way that he used the quarterbacks with Cleveland, I think it was dumb. I think it was bad, although he's not going to be able to be dumb this year. You know what I mean? Like, if he's going to use Tua or Penix, like, I don't think there's that strong of an argument for one over the other, to be honest, at this point. So whichever one he decides to go with, I'm not going to say it's a bad decision. I mean, unless we go out and we see otherwise. I mean, Tua was supposed to be the guy. Like, when he went to Miami and whatever, and he made the playoffs, he looked good for a while, but then it was the thing, Tua can't win in cold weather or whatever, and then he sucked really bad recently, and then, wound up with some injuries and whatever, and now he's gone from Miami, but maybe he'll be able to resurrect his career. I don't know. Tampa Bay and Jets here. These teams played during the regular season last year, which I remember because I won a game on the Jets plus the points here on the show during the regular season. They're in that game. It was a bad spot for Tampa Bay, but it was one of those games where I think the Jets made a comeback. And then it was one of those games where Tampa Bay had to overcome a deficit late. Like they did that in every game early in the season last year. But whatever. This game is going to be in New York or in East Rutherford, New Jersey, whatever. As far as the coaching, the Jets, they didn't fire Aaron Glenn, so I have no idea. So there's no coaching change here in this game. I don't think Aaron Glenn is very good. And as far as the Jets quarterback rotation, I don't know what we're doing here, man. Geno Smith looks like he's going to be the starter for them, so he's probably not playing in this game today. And then they got Cade Klubnik, who's a rookie out of Clemson, who looked good at times in college. I have no idea what they're going to get out of him. Brady Cook, who they drafted, I think, the previous year out of Missouri, he did not look particularly good last year. He's got some NFL experience now, though. And then they also have Bailey Zappi, who, not Zebby Matthews, Bailey Zappi, who was on the Patriots for a while. And then I don't know where he was last year, but he's going to be a career backup in the NFL, but he does have some experience playing in the NFL. I don't like this quarterback room much, though. It's really not that experienced. And if Geno is not going to play in this game, even though I don't think Geno Smith is that good either, so sorry. But I don't know, man. That quarterback room doesn't look that good. Tampa Bay, what do they have to offer, though? I mean, Baker Mayfield's not going to play here. He's going to be their starter. Their depth chart doesn't look good to me either. Jake Browning is on their team now. He was the backup for Cincinnati behind Joe Burrow for a while, and he was not cutting it. So they cut him. Apparently, and I don't expect much from him, although at least he does have experience playing in the NFL. Then they got Connor Bazelak. No clue. I think he might have played in some preseason games last year or something. And then they have Jalen Daniels, who's going to get sued by Jaden Daniels. I made that joke on Twitter. If you guys haven't heard, Jaden Daniels on Washington is, it's so stupid, dude. He's trying to get LSU. He's like trying to take legal action to get LSU to no longer use his name because they let somebody take his number 5. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like, why are you that high and mighty? Like, you've done nothing, bro. Like, Daniels, he won some, like, shitty bowl with LSU. Who gives a fuck? Whatever bowl it was. No championship stuff going on there. He's done basically nothing in the NFL. I mean, he had a good rookie year, made the conference championship. I said they overperformed that year, and I gave you guys Washington under their team total last year as one of my best team totals last year, and that was an easy win, although it was because Jaden Daniels got hurt. But even if he didn't, I still think they might have gone under. I think Jaden Daniels, it was just the league didn't know what to expect out of him in the first season. I honestly don't think he's that good. I think he's the next RG3. And he had that weird injury at the very same spot on the same field that RG3 did against the same team against Seattle, which is very eerie. Although he's back this year where RG3's career was pretty much over. Anyway, Jalen Daniels is on Tampa Bay out of Kansas. Don't know what to expect out of him either. Jaden Daniels might try to sue him for having a way too similar of a name to him. I have no idea. Jalen Daniels doesn't wear his number, though, but he's also on a different team. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a good read on this game. The Jets are favored by a ridiculous amount here, -6.5. I mean, you know the public, they're not going to lay points with the Jets. I mean, how could you? Like, how could the Jets be favored by 6.5 against Tampa Bay, right? Like, that's what they're going to be thinking in their mind. Does that mean Geno Smith is actually going to, maybe it does actually mean Geno Smith might actually play. Like, why the hell are they favored by this much? I have no idea, other than, Tampa might not be playing their starters, but that's pretty common in preseason. Like, you kind of just don't play any of your starters in the first preseason game. I have no idea, dude. Tampa Bay is a very public underdog. 81% of tickets, 74% of the cash on them. I'd lean towards the Jets, but that's what I said yesterday. It was like, Cincinnati had a similar line on their game, and Tennessee also did, and I think they both failed to cover because the line was just too big. Tennessee came in right around the number, and Cincinnati won and didn't cover. Those are both really low-scoring games. So like I said, I thought that those teams would win, and I kind of leaned their way, but the line was just out of control. The line was just way too high. So, I don't think I could lay 6.5 with the Jets, but I think they will win this game probably based on the way the market looks. I don't know, man. It's tough to gauge. And in that one, the ones yesterday, I had reasons why like the quarterback situation look better for those teams too. I don't have a great reason why for the Jets, unless if Geno Smith is playing, even though I don't think he's that good, I would change my tune actually because he is at least experienced. And maybe that is what's going on there. I have no idea. By the way, I will point out again, these totals are always really low in the first preseason games because the games just tend to be lower scoring because teams just don't go all out offensively a lot of times. A lot of teams that know what they're doing already, they don't want to show anything in preseason, so they go vanilla. And the games that are going to be higher scoring are the games where you expect like the coaches to be trying some crazy things and wanting to see what they're going to get out of some of their more talented young offensive players. So those are the types of games that are going to go over more. So we'll see about that. But yeah, you see a lot of low-scoring games. Although recently you've seen some higher-scoring games in these first preseason games. I didn't say it was actually a bet for me. No, wait, they took a touchdown away from the Colts? I have no idea. I know, I told you, I just said Anthony Richardson fumbled, made a stupid decision, could have just checked down, and he ran and fumbled in New England territory, and they would have scored on that drive if he didn't do that. So I don't think the Colts were really the wrong side there. Preseason is just bad, dude. Most of my opinions were correct yesterday, for what that's worth. I said I liked Pittsburgh. I said I liked Arizona. And it was those two, I guess. And then I did say I liked Cincinnati and Tennessee, and they did both win, but they didn't cover. But I said that the line was too high on both of them. So I don't know. The Colts were the right side. Yeah, I mean, the market read said they were the right side. In New England, dude, they were using Tommy DeVito. Like, I mean, come on, man. Miami and Washington's the last game. I don't want to be reminded of the Madrid game last year where I gave out, what did I give out? I think I gave out Washington plus 2.5 in that game. It was the second Jaden Daniels injured player theory spot or something. So I gave out Washington in that game, and they were in that game the whole way. Should have won. And I think Miami kicked a game-tying field goal at the end of regulation, and then Washington turned it over in overtime with Marcus Mariota. The Mariota's definitely a capable QB, which I will mention in a minute because he's still there. And then Miami wound up winning in overtime in that Madrid game. And we had Washington plus 2.5, and they lost by 3. And I think there might have been 3s out there before I got to the number. That game really, really irritated me. Washington should have won the game. I still think about it. That was a play that we lost on the show here. I don't think that game matters as far as this is concerned. Like, I don't think it's going to be a revenge spot for Washington, really. Like, I don't think they're going to, like, remember that game. Maybe they will remember that game against Miami. I don't know, man. This game is in Landover. Miami's favored in this game. And, of course, Jaden Daniels is not going to play. He's going to be fine. Like, he's going to be ready to go to start the season. But, obviously, they don't want to get him injured again. He seems very injury-prone. So, you're going to get Marcus Mariota, which I think is a good thing. I mean, Mariota's a very experienced NFL quarterback, but they're going to probably turn it over to Kaliakmanis, whoever the hell that is. I think, was he on the Chiefs last year? I want to say. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another guy with an unpronounceable name, maybe. No, I guess he's new. What the hell am I thinking of then? Oh, yeah, he's out of Rutgers. Yeah, so he's a rookie out of Rutgers. So they're probably going to get him in the mix to see what he can do. And then Sam Hartman, who has been in the league for a while, is basically a career backup. So Washington has a bunch of guys there. A lot of experience with Mariota. So if he's going to play a decent amount in the game, I think that's a good thing. Kaliakmanis is going to be very unpredictable. And I think they will use him because they drafted him and they want to see what he has. So they'll probably have him out there for quite a bit in the second half as well. Miami, I don't know what they're going to be doing, man. Miami, they don't have Tua anymore, and I think Malik Willis will be their starter, and everybody's making fun of that. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Like, I like Willis. Like, some of those games last year, he looked really good, and he looked good when he was backing up Jordan Love. He looked good. He's a dual-threat quarterback. I don't know, man. I think people are underrating Malik Willis, but I don't think you're going to see him in this game, so it's going to be all Quinn Ewers, who pitched. I'm still in baseball mode. He played last year a bit for Miami because he was their draft pick out of Texas last year. So he played a little bit, but he's still pretty inexperienced. And I don't even know who Cam Miller is. They're only carrying 3 QBs, I guess. I think he's a rookie. It looks like he's a rookie out of North Dakota State, who are now going to be in Division I FBS and no longer FCS Division I. So North Dakota State moved up this year to, where are they? The Mountain West. I'll talk about that when I get to my season preview for college football, which will be coming out soon. So Miller will probably get in the mix here because they only have 2 quarterbacks here that'll be in play today, so they'll probably rotate between the 2 of them. Well, it'll be Ewers first out probably, and then Miller will probably be in the second half. I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, I don't know if that justifies Miami being -3.5, although Miami does have a new coach, though, right? I think they fall into that scenario. And Washington looks public. So the public still wants nothing to do with Miami. Even though I think the public was on Miami in that Madrid game, though, because they didn't want Washington in the injured player spot and whatever. Washington has got 81% of tickets, 82% of the cash on them, though. I think people are just such idiots. I think they probably think, oh, Jaden Daniels is back. No, he's not playing in this game. That's why Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. And also, I'm pretty sure Miami is. They have a new coach because they fired McDaniel, right? Like, I think that was going into this year. So I'm pretty sure Miami has a new coach. So they might be trying in this game. Whereas Washington, Dan Quinn, he's kind of known for not trying in preseason. So those things do indicate more towards Miami. I don't think I want to lay the points with Miami, though. I don't like their quarterback rotation. Washington has the better quarterback rotation. So that's the thing. You have Miami with the worst quarterback rotation, but anything could really happen in this game, and Miami might be the team that's trying harder. So it's a very, very difficult handicap in this one. Definitely staying away from that. I mean, I don't even know, man. Out of these 3 games, the best angle is probably Atlanta plus the points, but I really don't like any of these games. So yeah, I mean, even if I was like a preseason bettor, I think I would be staying away from this shit. I don't know. Just enjoy the games, I guess. So that's going to do it. Long show. Thanks to football and me overanalyzing baseball. We got 2 baseball plays. First 5 under Miami, Cincinnati. Let's get it done. Let's have good pitching going on there. And we have a first 5 money line Kansas City Royals. It's a situational play, but it is also the pitching matchup I think is in favor of them. So let's get that one as well. WNBA real ugly. We're going to lay the 2.5 with the Seattle Storm or whatever the hell they're called. Let's get it done. Let's have a winning day. 2-1. I'd be satisfied. We've been treading water for a while now, man, and it's not fun. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. You'll get notified when I do my football preview stuff, which I know I already did some NFL stuff, but I'll probably be doing more, so be on the lookout for that. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. Although I think maybe these videos get kind of buried if you say that place or say any of these platforms, so maybe I should stop doing that. We do have the Loser Cast. I can say that every Tuesday night. You can check that out. The Giants G-Spot podcast. You can check that out as well. I'm all over the place today. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on here, on this platform, let's say. So you can find that there. And I think that's it. Go to my link tree, man. It's in the show notes here, and it's on my... am I allowed to say Twitter even? I have no idea. It's on... it's on there, but it's in the show notes. So my link tree has all the links. I think it's up to date. That's going to do it. Long show today. Feeling tired. Let's get some lunch. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer. Let somebody know you do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. Hold on, let me pull you out. That bad luck bites hard, but it don't get the crown. Hold on, stay with me now. Hold on, you're still here now.